And everyone, welcome to the Saturday AM Pilot Manga live reveal. This is our third one now for our Pilot Manga series. We hope that many of you guys have been following it. We're very, very proud to be producing these hangouts that basically allow us to look at some of the names that could be the next great superstars in manga webcomics. My name is Frederick Jones. I am the founder of myfootprint.com, which is myfutprint.com, and also the publisher of Saturday AM, which is a digital manga anthology that comes out every 2 weeks and features some of the top talent from around the world, including people like Manga, who produces a book that many of you may know called Apple Black, Wally Nguyen, who actually joins us tonight, who produces a book called COMATOSE. Even I have my own book called Massively Multiplayer World of Ghosts, and we feature creators from Hungary to the United States, including as well countries like Mexico, with one of our other judges, who will be Mariel Villareal. I'll introduce both of them properly in a few minutes, but definitely want to say that if you're not familiar with us, please do check us out. You can find out all the information about us at www.saturday-am.com. We are trying desperately to change the paradigm for webcomics globally, so that creators around the world, men and women, people who are black, brown, white, yellow, can just bring everything under the sun, green, red, you name it. Just we want everybody to participate in what makes comics creation such a wonderful feat. And we think that we've got some amazing creators who are doing that, and our objective is to really change the paradigm from people who just read content for free into people who support creators from around the world. And we think that we can do that. We've got a wonderful group of creators who are helping us do it every single week and every single issue of Saturday AM, and so we hope that you'll support us. You can subscribe to Saturday AM for just $5 a year. That's just $5 a year. You can subscribe to Saturday AM. And that gives you a magazine that comes out every 2 weeks and features content that goes anywhere from 75 to over 100 pages per issue. You will not find a better deal in comics, whether it's from Comixology, Image, Marvel, or anyone else. We have the best deal in comic books right now. Afternoon WebX, which features some of our free webcomics, again, features some really amazing titles like Wanted, Dead or Dead, and Shapeshifters, Storybook, and Spoon. These titles all are created by creators from around the world, and these titles are absolutely free. You can find them on our website free every single day. Many of them have multiple chapters, numbering anywhere from over 10 chapters each, some of them over 20 chapters. So we do hope that you'll check us out after watching this video production. Again, this is something that we've done now 3 times. This is our 3rd time. We do this contest every month, and if you want to learn more about it, go to saturday-am.com/pilot-manga/. Go there and you will find information on what we try to produce, which is contests every month that helps us find the next great manga webcomic creator. And we're doing it. We're finding some really stunning creators. We have introduced Philippa Borman from the United Kingdom, who last issue debuted her work, which was Animale, actually 2 issues ago, which is a fantastic manga that you simply just can't find anywhere else. It's really, really original stuff. We have David Johnson and Leonardo Massip upcoming. Both of them will be producing some really stunning work, Didi Dragoon and Islanders, respectively. And, of course, we'll be announcing this week some titles that will be coming to our new publication called Saturday Plus, one of them coming from a runner-up in our very first Pilot Manga contest, a gentleman named Justin Ananicion, I believe that you say his last name. He's got a great new work called Gray Zone. And we have a surprise that we'll be announcing this week as well, a creator who also participated in one of our test flights, who we are working with on a manga that he has. So these test flight mangas are very important. We're discovering some really great talent, and we have no doubt that these guys will become the next big thing. And we're really pleased that you guys are supporting us by checking out these Pilot Manga, checking out these videos, and hopefully supporting us with Saturday AM, the digital manga magazine. The last thing I want to say before we introduce our judges is that we have a thing that you can support right now outside of the subscription model, and that is something that is extremely important. It's called Saturday Wars, and it is a digital it's a crossover basically featuring digital manga creators or creations from around the internet. They feature every character that is active within Saturday AM. So that's works like TTX, Saigami, Massively Multiplayer World of Ghosts, Bully Eater, Metallica Lux Nova, Comatose, Apple Black, and so on. But that also includes every creation from the Afternoon WebX line, which is, again, Storybook, Spoon, Wanted, Dead or Dead, and Shapeshifters. We have some other titles that will also be a part of that book, but that's going to be a physical book, 200 pages, featuring artwork from all of our top creators. And we really need your help to make it happen. We believe that webcomics deserve to be seen alongside of works like Naruto, which is ending today, as well as other comics from Batman to X-Men to Avengers. We think we deserve to have our creators situated right next to some of your favorite, most popular creations around the world in your local comic book store. And the only way to make that happen is to support our Kickstarter. We're asking for $10,000. We've raised roughly over 10% of that. We have 9 days to go. And if you care at all about creativity, about original creators, about diverse voices, men, women, people of color, if you care at all about that, please support what we're doing. You can do it. You can donate as much as $5, or you can pledge as much as $100 or $400 or $500. Each scale, we offer some really compelling reward items, from T-shirts that have been really expertly designed by Wally Nguyen to original artwork that you can only get by doing this from creators like Wally, White Manga, and more. This is our chance to do something really phenomenal in the book space, and also to take our brand and our creations and the work of new creators who come through the Pilot Manga program like tonight, a chance to be seen on the widest stage possible. Printed comic books in your local bookstore, your local comic book store. So if you believe in what we're doing, please support us. You can get the information about this Kickstarter at www.saturday-am.com/wars, WARS/. Please, if you don't do anything else, share the information about this. We have 9 days to go, and I have every reason to believe that we can hit the total that we need to get, which is $10,000. None of that goes towards us. It goes towards supporting printing the book, which we want to print a really high-end book, and it goes for some of the really awesome rewards that we have. So this money is spoken for in terms of the stuff that we're doing for production. That's how expensive it is to make a book, but we know we can do it because you guys are awesome fans. You've been supporting us from day one. So please share this link if you can't do anything else, but if you can donate, please donate. We have over 5,000 fans collectively, and if just 100 people gave $100, we would hit our goal. We've already raised 10%. I know we can raise the next $9,000 thanks to you guys. So thanks again for tuning in. Let's now meet our judges. First up is one of the co-founders of what we're doing with Saturday AM. He's one of the original founding creators with his work COMATOSE. He's designed much of the things that you guys see. If you love the way Saturday AM looks, both the website and the book, this is the man you have to thank for it. He, in many ways, is like our Johnny Ive if we were Apple. Please give round one of support to Wally Nguyen. Wally, feel free to say a couple of words.
Hey guys, very happy to be here to be a judge of this month's test flight, and yeah, looking forward to the next hour or two.
All right, and the next creator that we have is Mariel Villareal, and she is our creator from Afternoon WebX. She is one of 3 female creators that we have, and we're really, really pleased to have Mariel a part of the group. She's from Mexico, so she is just a fantastic voice for us, both as a person of Latin descent, as a female, and as a creator who is really bringing some original ideas to the work of Manga webcomics. A manga Western comic book that features some really crazy characters like a cactus man, robots, people who can breathe and throw fire. If you've not read Wanted, Dead or Dead, you are missing out. This is one of the coolest webcomics out there, and soon we will have it in Spanish as well on our website for all of our Spanish-speaking friends. Please welcome Mariel Villareal. Mariel, you want to say a few words?
Hola muchachos, I am Mariel. I'm from Mexico, like Fred said, and it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Excellent. So guys, once again, I want to thank everyone for viewing. We got a pretty high viewership. Now, we don't normally take questions as we're going through it, but obviously we do know that some of you guys may have some pressing things to say. So what I will just advise you is that if you do have something you want to contribute, please do so in the Facebook group. You can either do it on our Facebook fan page, which is facebook.com/Saturday AM. That's just one word, / and you can post a comment there, or you can do it in our Pilot Manga group, which is actually in the Facebook group. And if we, if it's something that we can respond to, we will. But otherwise, we really like to keep this thing moving. So that's it. We're going to jump right into it. I hope everyone is able to pay attention. I will do a partial screen share to provide some context as we look at the stuff that we're doing with the creators and the work that they've submitted in. It won't necessarily have any rhyme or reason to it, so please don't request that we show certain things, because we're just going to run through the creators that we're looking at individual times, and what's on screen is what's on screen. So it just kind of gives you a little bit of an idea for those of you who are watching this live and or on demand. That's it. We're going to get started. So Mariel and Wally, I think the first title that we're going to be looking at here is going to be, just give me one moment, let me make sure I've got mine pulled up here. Let's see here. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is going to be Dania Mendez. And so if you guys can go ahead and pull her file up, and I will be screen sharing it here in just a moment. All right, and we're going to begin. Everyone now should have access to my screen. You should be seeing, those of you who are viewing this, you should be seeing the image up here. And like I said, I'll be cycling through a few of these. Wally, I'd like to begin with you for Dania Mendez, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I see it.
What's that?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, I'm saying, do you want to begin with Dania's comic, or your thoughts on it, or?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So Dania's entry is actually one of the ones that I'm more impressed with. And in terms of art style, it's got a very unique, very organic art style. The brush that she uses, I'm pretty sure that it's 100%. Her art is 100% digital. And it's yeah, in terms of art, there's no doubt that Dania is one of the strongest entries this month. Storytelling-wise, I've read through the arc, the character arc. Do you want to switch back to that one?
Sure, yeah. To this?
Yeah, the backstory in the arc proposal. I've read this from Dania, and although it didn't actually adhere to our ground rules for the month, but it gave us a pretty good idea of what the story could be about. It's about this small boy living in a small town and being bullied since his childhood, and he makes friends with this very strange character who I think is also looked down upon in some way, and who has a dangerous past. So that is the backstory. Although she included all this detail and very long art proposal, but there's actually not much to do with the actual story that's going to be seen. So I can't really say that I know much to I have much info to go on. But from what I've seen here, the story hinges more on the fan fiction side than actual story writing. Like, you see a lot of peripheral details in here. One day Josh was bored in recess. He was walking around, kicking rocks and playing with a stick. It's a lot of extra details that go around the actual plot.
Right.
So, yeah, so I definitely think that storytelling has to be worked on here. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's my input so far.
Okay, all right. And what, Mario, would you like to go next, or if you're not ready, I can go. Whichever one you'd like to do.
I'm just going to say that I agree with Wally about the storytelling. I think it needs to be worked on a bit, and I love the art. It's stunning. I love it.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So, so I will make my comment as well here. I mean, unless you got anything else, Mariel, is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it because uh, like like I said, the description and the storyline is too confusing for me, but I get the main idea,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
that's it.
Okay. So, I don't know if Dania is watching this right now. So Dania, I certainly echo what Wally and Muriel said, and I must say I'm a little frustrated with that, the fact reality, because as they both said, you have some of the strongest art here. I don't know why the story uh, is the way it is. It didn't adhere to a lot of the rules that we had. Number one, so there was a couple of things left out. There's no real character description, which was a little frustrating because when you've got art that's this inviting, it's like, usually the one thing that we get a lot of is a lot of needless backstory. With artwork that I think is safe to say is not as interesting as your artwork, and yet in your case you have this amazingly intricate artwork with nothing regarding the characters. Some of the character information itself is very very pedantic. There's just not a lot of stuff there. It's just kind of like observations. It's like this character likes to walk around and does things. It's like there's no story there. And so there are two ways I can look at this. I can look at this one way as being you have an amazing art ability that should be partnered with a writer, because not everyone is a writer. And I think that's one thing that I've said this over and over again. And I think this particular test flight, I'm going to be making this point a lot, is some people want to be everything, and in some cases you're not. Your artwork is unbelievable. Your artwork, just so many things you have going on with your artwork. It is so detailed, so imaginative that, again, I'm almost like, it's almost a travesty to me. I was almost hurt that I did not see a story here that was worth discussing. Because your artwork, you could be the artist of the next Death Note. You could be the artist of the next great comic strip. Your artwork is that good. But the story that's here is just not there. And so it was a little frustrating. So I mean, I'm being a little more blunt, I guess, than the other two, but that's my job. And I would say to you that that's not to say that you're not in our finalist block. I can't say right now that you're a finalist or not a finalist. I'm on the border with you. I'm on the brink of saying yes, no to you being a finalist. But you're certainly not a finalist when it comes to the story. The story just right now makes no sense to me whatsoever. And that's a shame because there's so much stuff there, so many good ideas that potentially could be there. We saw something similar last month with Leonardo Massett, who, and this is why you're right now on the border with me, right now where I'm tinkering with whether or not to slide you into the go column or to not have you advance past into the finalist stage. Because with Leonardo similarly had some ideas. Part of this was because of his English was not that great, but Leonardo had a situation where he had really amazing ideas that he could not articulate in a decent format. But his artwork was so exceptional that we decided to advance Leonardo to a position that would work. And then once Leonardo and I actually talked, I saw that there was a really good story that was there that Leonardo had. He just didn't know exactly how to set it into a proper presentation format. But that was a gamble that worked. Potentially, we'll see when Islanders comes out. But I'm on the fence with this. I don't even know the name of this property, to be honest with you. That's another thing. I don't even know the actual name of this property.
The property, I think it's called I Used to Be Fat. And
okay, yeah, okay, I see that there. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the ideas that Danae I've seen in Pilot Group, and I have to say it's very interesting in the sense that she's tackling all of the issues that are very prevalent out there. Body image, weight, sexuality.
Totally agree with all of that. Yeah.
yeah, all of that. But it might be the case of actually trying too hard to include those things,
Yeah.
and and like just for the sake of having all those things in to make a statement, but not actually making a story out of it, not actually making it relatable.
Right.
So it might be a make or break.
Agreed. Totally agree. And well said. I think for everybody watching this, I think that's the key thing that everyone has to be very cognizant about when you're developing these pilot manga. This is exactly why we, by the way, put these pilot mangas together, is to challenge you to think in a context that is, first of all, and I wrote an article about this on the pilot manga group, but about the idea that you're writing for consumption. You're not writing for yourself. You're writing for consumption. And once you adopt that mentality, it doesn't mean you can't write for yourself. Obviously, you are a consumer. You like content that you get. But if you're not writing, thinking about who is reading it, then you've lost. Because if all you're doing is entertaining what you want to see visually, then that's how we get the fanboy culture. That's how we get things that don't matriculate into being the successes that your art or your passion or your talents deserve them to be. You've got to think about the reader. And so I think, like Wally just said, I think, there's a lot of ideas here that I personally love to see. I've been wanting to see someone who will tackle, sexuality in a mature way. This is not it right now, but the fact that you wanted to do that, I give you a lot of credit for. An example of someone who tried a lot of things and succeeded was Philippa in our first test flight. Animals is really hard to do, but she pulled it off. Making a lead character be a giraffe, exceptionally hard to do, but she pulled it off. Choosing certain perspectives for her images, having action that involved violence. She did all those things, so it wasn't just cartoony animals, and she pulled it off. All those things are technically very difficult to do, but Philippa was able to do them. So that's not against this. This is not a negative to try ideas like the stuff that Dania was trying to do here. But again, if you're not thinking about your audience and what will excite them and make them want to be a part of the story, follow the story, then you're missing out on what makes being a creator such a fun thing. So I think right now we'll say that, again, we have a lot of passion for Danae's artwork, as I think everybody in the pilot manga group does. Some skepticism about the story. We will make the decision at the end whether or not this is a finalist property. Let us now move on, unless there's any other comments. All right, we're going to move on next to Wally and Mariel. Please prepare. Please pull together. It's called. I think it's called Kuro, but the individual's name here. Let me see here. It's wow. I'm trying to see exactly what this thing is called. It's these files are never named exactly right. Give me a moment here. Let me see if I can tell you what this file is called. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how awesome live hangouts are. Let's see here. Okay, guys, pull the test flight one that says what is this? Let's see, Terrence Avila. It's Terrence Avila and I think it's Medio Matora. You guys see that? I'll be pulling it up here in a second on screen share. Great. I'll be screen sharing here in a moment, so everyone at home can witness it for yourself here. Okay. All right, and everyone at home should be able to see that now. It is called Matora. I will begin with this one. So a couple of things. First of all, this is an example of many of the things we got this month, where we had people who had some interesting ideas, but simply did not follow through with our conversation. So they submitted things that were not everything to submit. So this is a work here from, I believe the gentleman's name is Terrence Avila, and it's called Matora, I believe is the name of the work. And what we have here literally is the cover. We have a page here that you can see is not necessarily inked and filled out. We have another page that's not really inked and filled out. And then we have basically the pitch, which is Dexter's Laboratory meets Avatar's World Journey. So, you know, really all we can comment here on is the actual cover. And I think, you know, the one thing I would say, the reason I wanted to make sure that we saw this is because there are probably some great ideas. First of all, I love the pitch. I absolutely love that pitch. This is actually, to me, an example of a really good pitch. Dexter's Laboratory meets Avatar. Well, not Avatar's World Journey, not that part, but meets Avatar. I think that would be very interesting. That makes me immediately intrigued about what this could be. Obviously, the character designs do not fit my thought of what that would be, but I kind of like the, you know, coming from me being 40 years old and coming from the 1980s, I kind of like that kind of, you know, that kind of leotard 1980s glam funk rock look of the main character. So I actually was quite intrigued and want to check this out, and I was really disappointed that the non-stuff was here. So let this be a lesson that, and I see this a lot in pilot manga, and now that we've done it for 3 months, I see it every month. Do not rush to finish what you were doing. If you do not have the stuff in, do not rush to get your stuff into us. Do not think that you can send a file to us that is via Dropbox, and then you send it, and then you're like, okay, well, I'll update it across a time frame to get it done. Because in theory, yes, you should be able to update it, and we automatically get it. But I don't know exactly what will happen here. I know there were several creators who wrote me and said, hey, I'm submitting what I have, and I'll get to you your other stuff later. And I told them that if it's not in by 11:59, then it will not be, you know, it'll be an automatic fail. This is an automatic fail. And it's a shame, because I thought the pitch here was not a bad pitch. And again, just for my own personal aesthetic, I like the lead look of the character. I thought it was kind of an interesting choice for character design versus this new modern manga, Marvel superhero world that we live in. I kind of liked it, but that's all I could see. I mean, even the panels, the pages, are obviously not inked, they're not filled out, so you ask yourself, why would you even send this in? It's beyond me. So I hope that you all see this and recognize that as we move forward with these pilot mangas, they're only going to get more difficult. I can assure you they're only going to get more difficult, both in terms of the things that we ask you to do and your competition. So why you would be in the desire to wait, I mean, I'm not saying you wait until that Terrence wait until the last minute to do this, but certainly if you're sending this in at 11 o'clock deadline day, 11 p.m. with an hour to go, and this is what you're submitting, then clearly something did not meet the time frame of you getting it done within the 2 weeks that we gave you. And in this case, for September, we gave you guys actually, it was close to 3 weeks we gave you ahead of time information. So very confused about this. I'm not sure what to say here. Let me turn it over to Mariel first. Mariel, any comments that you want to throw out there regarding this property?
I'm just gonna say that I was disappointed as well, because I saw the cover and the artwork is so. I mean, it's not that professional, but I saw the cover and I thought, wow, a rock band from the future, looks good. Mm-hmm. And then I saw the pitch and I was like, wow, that's something I love to see. Where's the backstory?
Right.
And there's nothing, no information. There's nothing much I could say about this. Only that Terrence, if she or she should put more dedication to the work, because something good may come out of this.
Absolutely. Wally, any comments?
Yeah.
Did you have any comments, Wally?
Whoops. Yeah. I was saying, from seeing the cover, although there's not much there, I can already, you know, the person obviously is working, is trying very hard to actually draw for this contest. Like from looking at the cover, you can see that he is not very good at drawing different types of characters. Like you can see that these characters have the same face, they just have, you know, slightly different hairstyles. Right. Actually, they have the same bangs, but you know, different poofiness in their hair. I don't know if that's intentional or not. Might be intentional. I don't know. But yeah, So and that background, I'm pretty sure was yeah. Can't really tell if it's from Google Google SketchUp or not. But yeah. So in terms of drawing, the contestant is already trying very hard, but I guess that also means that they can't do the same. They can't replicate the process for all the entry pages. So we ended up with just one decent enough looking image.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's unfortunate to Terrence Aviles. Hopefully you'll enter next month's test flight. But again, I hope everybody kind of takes that upon themselves to say, crap, I don't want to enter something that's not complete, and sometimes having that maturity and confidence in your work to say, you know what, I'm not ready yet, is just as important as actually being a super talented artist or writer, being able to step back and go, you know what, I'm not ready yet. And we saw, and let me say, this is not to pick on Terrence, because there are other people that we'll be talking about as well who entered stuff that they were not ready to do, and it cost them. And you see it, and you're like, why would you waste your time doing that? So, anyways, that is that title. The next title, is called Red Hammer, and it is rather impressive looking, certainly in terms of the cover. I'm going to let Wally begin first, but give me a moment. I'll set the screen share here. Okay, and Wally's screen share will be up here momentarily. Feel free to begin telling people what you thought of Red Hammer. I will let the images circulate here in a moment. Go ahead.
Yeah, Fred, certainly a very interesting entry. Very good looking, and one of the better looking ones. And looking at this entry, I can see I can see that although there's influence from the more popular Shonen Jump titles, Emilio, I think, is that Emilio Sterling? Yeah, he has developed his own style, which is very interesting. Which is something that we are looking for. Something that is not a rehash of an already existing style, which we're going to touch on later. And the action scene, I think I've seen this action scene on Facebook, and although it could be said that it's confusing, it's actually one of the more elaborate and understandable action scenes. And I think it's very interesting. Like looking at the action scene, you can see that this guy assisting his teammate fighting this this bad guy with dark skin, and throwing Molotov at him to use as a smoke bomb type of thing, so that the main character can do the attack, which is it's a very straightforward, very dynamic looking, and yeah, just very competent action page. So in terms of action, I think that's a good entry.
Yeah.
In terms of comedy, not I'm not very impressed with it yet, but I have to say that Emilio did a good job following the rules.
Agreed. Totally agree. So is that it? You want to go to Mariel now?
Yeah.
Okay. Mariel, what thoughts did you have?
This is one of my favorite entries, definitely. It has a nice artwork, and his last name, it reminds me of someone who also draws manga, but it must be something, I thought. I love the art style, definitely. I find it manga, but cartoonish at the same time. That's
Yes.
something that really caught my eye. it's interesting that in the character description, his weapon is his own weakness. I'm just curious about how that works.
Yeah, I thought the same thing when I read that. I was like,
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, what? That's interesting. That really caught my attention.
That's right.
And the paneling is great. The action scenes, like Wally said, the comedy scene, I don't really get it, but maybe if he could have done something else, but it's fine. I love it. It's great.
Agreed. So is that it for you, Mariel?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, yeah. So let me just say that, yeah, so this is one of my finals. I was very impressed with this for all the reasons that Wally and Mariel just said. I think, first of all, let's talk about the cover. I thought the cover was actually was very cool. I was really surprised. I'm a big fan of design, and I like how design really works sometimes to elevate material. And in this case, you know, as we've all talked about, I mean, this is a fairly typical story. There's not potentially there's something amazing here, but the fact that the red hammer is both, the weapon and the weakness, but but the fact that the creator doesn't explain it is also just amazing to me. I love how Emilio doesn't explain. It's like saying, he's married to, he's the husband and the wife. It's like, it doesn't explain anything there. So it's an interesting idea, but I like the cover. Perspective is fantastic on it. The fact that everything is cast in shades of red. That's a great cover. That's a really, really great cover. Also, there's elements here that really stun me. For example, like the character designs are the weakest part here. The character designs are exceptionally weak, and what I find stunning about it is that the other part, like the actual panels, the illustrations, are actually really good. So I couldn't quite square how the character designs look so weak in comparison to the panel work, which I thought was great. The comedy thing, that was a rural aspect. I understand why some of the judges are talking about it. To me, it's not something I'm worried about. I mean, comedy is a very difficult thing to do. Whether or not you do good comedy is not something that I'm worried about for this particular exercise. The key thing, the main reason why we put that in there was, okay, so it's doing a weird Inception thing. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. I will stop doing screen share then for whatever reason. If anyone else wants a screen share while anybody else wants a screen share, that's perfectly fine. It might be something with my computer then for screen sharing. I will turn off the screen share. But yeah, what I would say in regards to Red Hammer is just that I felt that this was a really strong piece. It's one of my favorites. I like Wally said, I love the fight scene. I thought that I actually like the plot a great deal. I thought miners in the world that we live in. I'm always amazed that mining is such a interesting topic. We saw the miners that were trapped underground in Argentina. It's a really big conversation in the United States right now, and so I just think it's a great setting for an interesting story to be told. And so I was really pleased that Emilio chose that as a story, but then also is adding in these other elements that are more manga-like. So I'm intrigued. I'm really excited about the possibilities of it, and I thought that while the art is not expert at all, there's enough positive stuff here and originality here that I'm interested to see this be a story, or it certainly be a pilot manga. So this is one of my finalist series. Any final comments before we move on to the next series? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. So then let us now go to the next series. And after the next series, I see there's some comments coming in. So after the next series review, we will take a small break, and I'll check for some of the questions that are there. So the next series, Wally and Mariel, we're going to go to it's the work by Ruben Mucho. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce his last name, but Ruben Mucho. So let me know if you guys have access to that.
I'm screen sharing, Fred. Do you see it?
I do. Yep. Fantastic. All right. Hopefully everybody is tuning in to to Wally's screen for screen sharing. And the work is called Flaming Lotus. And does anyone want to go first? I'll be happy to go first if no one else wants to.
You go first, Fred.
Okay, all right. So, let me say as well that this is one of my properties as well that goes into the this is a finalist. I was terribly impressed with this for a couple of reasons, but also concerned for a couple of reasons. So let me give my thoughts. First of all, the concept here is the individual here says the pitch is Mythical World meets Naruto meets Korra. This is one of the worst pitches that we've had because it's kind of all the things that we taught that I've tried to tell people to work against, which is taking the obvious thing and then basically fanboying it up. So obviously this creator likes Naruto. There's a lot. This creator likes Apple Black a lot as well. That's obvious. But likes Naruto, likes Legends of Korra, which Legends of Korra is awesome. And then Mythical World, which I would think Naruto and Korra both meet the Mythical World aspect. So the fact that these are sort of things that they're kind of stitching together is not really a great pitch. This is one of the worst pitches that we had. That being said, obviously we get the idea. There's five. The world's split up by these gods. You could say that's Naruto and the Biju, and they're each one is one of the elements. And so basically, we get this main character in here, which is a kid named Toby. He lives in refuge in planet Earth, a different dimension from his homeland. He's a kind and emotional person. Very much a Naruto vibe here. He's a protector of the five elements realms. And then there's another character he talks about named Cameo. And the bottom line here is that the kid turns 17 and he doesn't know about his real homeland and who he really is, his parents. Again, there's a lot of stuff here that kind of remind me of Naruto, basically. And so that kind of bothered me a great deal because there just wasn't a lot of stuff here that I felt like was truly unique or truly interesting. But there are things that I did like in regards to this. The character designs, first of all, I was relatively a fan of the character designs here. For one thing, they're consistent. And I talked about this in last month's test flight with one of the works. The name escapes me, but it was kind of science fiction. The lead character was a girl with a punk. In fact, it was a girl who looks a lot like the girl character in Red Hammer. But I talked about how a lot of times when you see new creators, one of the things that manga does very, very well, manga particularly in Japan, is that the creators, amateur or professional, they really get the sense of world building. They understand how to build a world, and as a result, the story might be stupid, the characters might be horrible, but everything in the world that they create seems like it exists in its own world. And so that is something that is I find that really amazing about the way that some of these guys work. And so from that standpoint, I think that there's something really amazing about the character designs here when you consider that all the different characters that we are shown all look similar. They all have a very similar sash. They all have a very similar kind of baggy clothes with the leg guards and so forth. That impressed me. That showed me a sense of understanding of how of the world he's creating. Beyond that, the cover was kind of interesting. Also, again, as much as I don't like this constant thing to try to pull the thing here to constantly show you this Naruto slash what do you call it Korra sort of relationship. What I did very much love was that the five elements, which could have been completely Biju-like, have a really unique vibe to them. Like all four elements or five elements, look actually quite interesting. And that was another element that I thought was tremendous, was the character design that went into the five elements. Clearly the god of fire, the god of air, or whatever these beings are, entities. All of them were quite unique. So the rock or earth god looked a little like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. But all in all, I was really, really impressed with a lot of the elements here. And so while there were a lot of things here that were kind of derivative, there were enough things here that I thought were demanding of respect because the creator was recognizing a lot of basics about creating manga, creating a world that was fully functioning in and of itself. Not the most original idea out there, but a lot of promise showed in some really key areas, such as building the world, character designs, things like that. So this is one of my finalists. I was impressed with it on a couple of levels, disheartened on a couple of levels, but impressed on a couple of levels. Let me turn it over first to Mariel. Mariel, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts, it has a neat art style. The cover is great. It's fantastic. The colors, the I don't know what are they, elemental beings. I love each design, and I agree that Rock Guy looks like Groot. I thought that was Groot, actually, but it's okay. It has a lot of what's the author? Well, Naruto. It has a lot of Naruto influence. You can see it by the clothes the characters wear and everything. But I love it. I love everything with martial arts involved. Um, what else? It looks like a good action fantasy packed story. It could be entertaining, but like you said, I don't find the Naruto or the approach he took on the story. I mean, it's not that convincing, but it's promising. You could work it from another approach to make something good out of it, because it has everything. Only what you said, I mean, the story, I mean, you could make something better, different, and that's pretty much all I have to say. I love it. Just the part of the story is what really bothers me a bit, but I like it. I definitely like it.
Very cool. All right, Mr. Nguyen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I have to say that with this entry, he was very straight up with his pitch when he was saying that it's Naruto meets Korra, because it is exactly what it is.
Right.
There's I read the pitch and I realized that wow, this is Naruto and Korra. Like he just like he took their ideas, didn't change it up much, and then just mashed them together. That's what I got from the pitch. In terms of the art, I have to say that this page, this action scene in particular, I looked at it and I was like, wait, is this Apple Black? Which is a compliment and a complaint in itself, because we have Apple Black, and this monster right here, it actually looks like what that monster is, Cerberus from Apple Black. He looks like that. And I saw this and I was like, oh, is this an Apple Black crossover? And that's the first complaint. And the second complaint is the in this particular action scene is the way he uses his thunder power. His thunder power and his clothing reminds me of Sasuke, and the way he uses his one finger to two and three fingers thing reminds me of the first. Or the third Raikage in Naruto, where he can changes the number of fingers he uses to make a more devastating attack. So with this, I'm saying my point is there's not much by way of originality in here. The art is certainly good. The person certainly has talent to actually improve himself and turn his style into something more unique. In fact, I think these pages, although these pages look like Apple Black, the character designs don't look like Apple Black.
Yes.
The way the lines are done is different. So I think the person certainly has enough skills to hone his style over time and create something unique visually. Story-wise, I don't think this one works.
Fair enough.
Not because it doesn't work as a story.
Right.
It doesn't work as something new.
Yeah, I certainly agree. Every opinion here is straight, so that's perfectly fine. And definitely understand where you're coming from on a lot of those points. Okay, so that's kind of our thoughts there. So any other comments before we move on to the next thing?
Nope.
Okay. Let me say that we're getting a couple of comments in on Facebook. Yes, I found out after the fact, of course, that the Screen share I was doing wasn't working. I was screen sharing, but for whatever reason it wasn't working on your end. So everybody, hopefully you have moved on. I've set Wally's screen as a predominant screen so you can see the screen shares that he does. So you should be able to see all the artwork and activity from there. We typically post a couple of the images, not all the images. We tend to post a few of the images after we finish the thing. Within 24 to 48 hours, we do kind of a recap. So don't let that concern you too much there. But that was the last one we just looked at, and our very next one that we're going to be looking at is, let's see here. Let's see, is going to be Comimra. Guys, if you can locate Comimra's test flight. Okay, let me know when you guys have that. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started then here. The work here is called Sci School, and do you have that there, Wally? Oh, okay. All right, so Wally's stepped away from the computer for just a moment, so just take a quick break here, guys. Okay, we'll take a quick break here, guys, and just remind everybody. I see we have a huge viewership on the Hangout, and so I want to thank everyone for checking us out. Again, if you're not familiar with who we are Saturday AM. We are a collective of manga creators from around the world working digitally, and we have a digital magazine that comes out every 2 weeks and features anywhere from 80 to over 100 pages of original manga content. So if the ending of Naruto has shattered your soul, do know that you've got a home with brand new material from Saturday AM. You can find us at www.saturday-am.com, and chances are you've seen some of our stuff, either COMATOSE by one of our judges tonight, Wally Nguyen, or Apple Black by White Manga, Bull Eater by Raymond Brown, Methalcalypse Nova by Mikhail Dingle, or some of our free webcomics that we have, like Wanted, Dead or Dead by tonight's judge, Mariel Villareal, Spoon, or Storybook, also by creators that we have from WebEx. So please check us out. Our subscription for our digital magazine is just $5 for the year. You cannot beat that. It is the best deal in comic books, better than anything that Image, Marvel, DC, or Comixology does. Check it out. $5 for the entire year. All right, so next up is from Comimra Gamble, I believe is his last name. Comimra is a member of our Pilot Manga group, as all of the contestants are, but Comimra's been around, has been a member for quite a while, and he's participated, I believe, in last month's test flight. So he's got a new test flight entry. This one is called Sci School. And who would like to do this one first? Mariel, would you like to go first on this? Mariel?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so you want to go first? Okay, good.
I don't really have anything much to say because I don't have a clue about the pitch. I don't know what is Actual World nor Eureka 7, so I don't really know how good is that, or I have no clue. And from the perspective of someone who doesn't have a clue, it does sound a bit. It does sound like science fiction. It reminds me just a little bit of the Hunger Games or something like that. But in this case, there are schools that fight to get territories and like fighting. I'm not sure if it's to the death. I think it is. The characters, I think they're a bit generic. Like, how you call them? A Gary's too? Like, is he's just too perfect or just plain? I don't know how to. Yeah. That's the word, right? The plain character. They need to make someone more a bit more real. a character, someone can be identified with. I don't know if I've explained myself there.
No, I think I think I get where you're coming from. So, what did you think of the art?
Well, the art, it needs to work a bit on that.
Mm.
So, like a teacher of mine used to say, it's too hairy. I mean, the lines are like these little points. I mean, it's not that what's the word? Clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the word. It's
Yeah.
not that clean.
Mm-hmm.
The coloring is okay. I mean, I like the colors actually.
Yeah.
But he needs to work on the line arts and the anatomy of the characters. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
small shoulders and big heads. Like I'm looking at the cover,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's pretty much about it. Since I don't know what else to say about the story or the page because I don't really know.
Right. Okay. So, all right. So, fair enough. Wally, why don't you chime in terms of your thoughts? I reviewed Commemora's thing last month, so I'll wait to go to the end.
Yeah. Well, I certainly think the idea actually has room to grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very challenging idea, and although it's similar to a few things, as he said in his pitch, it's similar to Axel World and Eureka 7. It's also similar to the Hunger Games and Battle Royale.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay because those ideas, they're always going to be rehashed. But
Right.
for some reason, they will always be interesting because the thing is, when you have a war between one district and another, or a war between one school and another,
Right.
you have a lot of characters involved in it, and with that, you have a lot of these characters' lives dependent on it, which means that you get to see a lot of conflict and a lot of struggling between the characters, which is very interesting, which will remain interesting, although the genre will have been done to death. Having said that, I have to say that he picked a topic or a theme or a pitch that is too hard for him to illustrate.
Yeah.
Because when you take a world that is from 2098 and you can't actually illustrate the all the sci-fi stuff or the futuristic looking stuff, then you really are throwing your idea out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like you look at this robot and you think that, oh wait, is this from the steampunk era or is it actually from 2098?
Right.
Art-wise, he can work on it. I think he has room to improve. But right now, this idea is a little too hard for him to illustrate. But I need to give my compliments where it's due, and I think the idea is good. The idea is good.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so here's what I'll say on Camilla stuff. So I agree with, well, I don't agree with anything Mariel said. Let me say, Camilla, two things. One is that I think, and I rarely say this, but I think you are young, and I think that's obvious that you're young, and I think your work shows that you're young. As Wally indicated, you've got some really interesting ideas. In fact, I would say, and I'm with Wally on this, I would say that you probably have one of the more interesting ideas that is in the entire test flight this month. I mean, this is actually a really well-conceived idea. Now, I don't think, based off the stuff that you've written, everything from spelling errors and so forth, which we don't look at tremendously, but the reality is that, again, this just kind of cements to me that you're not yet at an age or experience level to have the gravitas to tell this type of story. Because as Wally said, you're touching on some pretty heady themes here, everything from Battle Royale to Hunger Games to Eureka 7, which really the only thing about this is Eureka 7 is the robots and so forth. But, I think that, but there were several things here that caught me. One, the fact that I did, just like Mariel said, I absolutely thought of Battle Royale and Hunger Games, which is stunning to me that you didn't think of that, because very little of what you've got here would remind you of Axel 7 or Eureka 7. In your head, as a fan, I'm sure you like those properties, they're very remote properties, by the way. So clearly, so I mean, you have to be a fan to even reference those, because as Mariel says, she doesn't even know this stuff, and she's a fan of manga and anime like everybody else, but she doesn't even know those properties. So you had to dig deep to pull those out, and that right there says to me there's a problem when you're looking at two far bigger, far better, far more well-known properties in Hunger Games and Battle Royale. Battle Royale being the lesser of the two. Hunger Games is far more of a huge hit than Battle Royale ever was. But the fact that you would not recognize the similarity in your work to that, and instead fall upon this sort of niche thing that you're into, that tells me again that you're not creating things with an understanding of your consumption. You're not thinking about the people who will be interacting with your property. You're thinking about the things that you like, which is great in terms of what inspires you. But what inspires you should not be what you create. It should inform what you create, but it should not be what you create. And so, and the thing is, again, is that you didn't create that, because there's nothing Eureka 7 in your work at all. If anyone, just everybody watching this can Google Eureka 7, see the robots, see the sky, the skateboard, skyboard, whatever thing that those robots flew on, and you have none of that in your work. So I don't even know how you pull that in, other than the fact, again, you're a fan of it, just like the previous guy was a fan of Legend of Korra. I'll say this again, you guys have got to break the fanboy relationship that you have to some of these properties. If you want to be a creator, then create. If you want to be someone who lives and breathes Naruto, then create fan fiction. But trying to merge the two is a recipe for disaster when it comes to really trying to be taken seriously with what you're creating. Now, again, the other piece of this, of your age being the fact that I think your artwork is actually very good, but again, good based on your age. I think you're young, and therefore the fact that you've got a panel where the lead character's face is shaded, is shaded out, and he's obviously podgy, and he's obviously a dark-skinned individual. So kudos, number one, for the fact you have some racial diversity there, which you've always done. I've always liked that you did that. But again, that was a great technique that you were able to pull off. So kudos to you on that. And you also are doing some other things, perspectives, characters who are doing different things physically that show that you have the right understanding of what you're trying to do. Do you have the necessary experience and talent to pull it off right this minute? No, but you will get that over time. So I guess for me, what I would say is that, yes, I can't take this to the next level as a finalist property personally, but I'm encouraged tremendously at the growth that you're showing as a creator. This is infinitely better than what you presented last month, infinitely. And the fact that you still have a long way to go tells you that you're young, and the only thing you can do at this stage again is to continue to hone your skills. I would even suggest that you're one of the creators, I would say, should take your work. You've got other websites out there. We're not that place, but Ink Blazers, Stopastic, create something and just start doing it on a regular basis so that you can get the rhythm down for how you draft a page, how you create characters, how you lay out certain perspectives, how you handle line work. These are all the tools of experience and skills that come from someone who develops that skill set. And if you're very young, and I don't know how old you are, but if you're very young, then you adopting that philosophy now will mean that by the time you get to be Wally's age, certainly by the time you get to be my age, good God, but by the time you get to be Wally's age or something like that, or Mariel, that you could really be at an advanced stage of art creativity. But story I thought was quite interesting here. You didn't have it all figured out. Again, I think because you don't have the maturity to tell the story. Artistically, not bad at all. As Mariel said, high marks on the coloring. Coloring is very difficult. You have good coloring down. And honestly, again, as I said, not everybody's a comic artist. Not everybody's a comic writer. Some people are different things. I think today I posted an article about the video interview with Shonen Jump's editor from Japan. And I remember some of the comments coming in like, wow, I never knew anything about editors. And one of the things I've said in the Pilot Manga group that I want everybody to embrace is the idea that hopefully through this group you come to realize that you love creating manga so much that instead of thinking you're going to create the next Naruto, which many of you will not, I mean, that's just being honest to God's truth. Many of you won't, just like many of us won't. You can still play a role in it. You can still be a designer. You can still be a colorist. You can still be a letterer. You can still be an editor. You can still be lots of things that help to advance your career in manga and webcomics, and at the same time, help your own personal opportunities grow within that space. So not just you're working on manga, but finding your own place within the world of manga and webcomics. So you have great coloring. Maybe that's something that you look at as well in the future. All right, so that's it. Any other questions on Camilla? All right, so then let's next move to a new contestant. His name is, I believe, Ben Ducati. I may be pronouncing it wrong. He has the work called Mafioso. So he has the work called Mafioso. Okay. And why don't you go ahead and go first with this, and then we'll flip it over to Mariel, and then I'll finish up.
All right. It's computer's lagging a bit. Okay. So from an artistic standpoint, I can see the Full Metal Alchemist influence, and I have to say that although the art leaves much to be desired, he clearly has potential, and with more training, his style would actually might be able to turn into something very good. Character designs, although pretty basic and you don't actually see much of it, they certainly have character, personality to them, and yeah, I mean that's all I can say for now, really, because the mafioso himself doesn't actually seem that much of a mafioso to me. Like he's pretty, yeah. He looks like
he looks like an Abercrombie and Fitch.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah. That's my comment so far. I'll come back to it once I formulate a more thorough answer later.
Sure. Okay. Mariel, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts. I like the art. I love the coloring also. I love the traditional coloring.
Mm-hmm.
I think he colors better than me, actually. I mean, yeah. And I like the logo.
Yes, I like the logo too. Yes, that's
I like the logo. It's really good. I mean, and like Wally said, I don't see the mafiosos, the mafia in here, but the Pirates of One Piece don't even look piratey to me, so I think that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What else? The backstory it's kind of like I don't know. It's so much things happening that I don't know where to focus. I don't know if I make myself clear, but it does look interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, it looks interesting, and the pitch. Well, it also got me, but I don't. Like I said, I don't see it well reflected on the description.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are too many things, but I think if he works on it, it might be a good manga.
Mm-hmm.
He could definitely get better, and but it has potential. Like Wally said, I liked it.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So go ahead.
About the characters, I think they're not bad, but like for example, there's only one description about Law and mentions another two characters, but I don't see them here. I would have loved to see the description of those characters too.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I like it. I think it has potential, and it's interesting. And the logo is great. The logo is great. I'm in love with the logo.
Okay, so again, this is from our first time creator, and Ben Ducati. So I am a bit torn with this. So I think all the reasons that you both said. Of all the things that we talk about a lot, all the things that I've written and tried to get a lot of our members, we have over 260 members now in our pilot manga group. And, this is something I've talked a lot about, which is originality. And I think that without a shadow of a doubt, Ben has created something very original. I think that's a given. I don't know of anything else that we have in our wheelhouse that is even close to this. Certainly none of the existing Saturday End properties fall in this realm. You could make a case that Bully Eater has some similarities, but really it doesn't. So I'm really quite impressed with this. Love the logo, which again is not something that we ask our creators to do, but in this case, Ben put together what I thought was a really thoughtful logo, and so I like the logo a great deal. I'm very impressed with it. Character designs, I'm not impressed with because there's just nothing there. There's clearly, for example, in the illustration that we suggested you do, when your character crosses over with another existing character, he has his main character meet the guy from I forget the guy's name from Reborn, Suna, I think from Reborn. And if you look at Reborn, they have character design. So even though their characters are regularly clothed, they all have very unique, interesting looks. And I think in this case, so clearly I would imagine, therefore, that Ben is a fan of Reborn. And as we've said before, it's like you shouldn't copy ideas, but in the case of I subscribe to the Steve Jobs school. Good ideas are taken or borrowed. Great ideas are stolen. And if you're gonna, mimic Reborn, then mimic Reborn and really get some really cool, funky character designs like Reborn had. Or One Piece. He references One Piece in his pitch, which I think is a great pitch. I didn't like the last part of the pitch in terms of New Age Mafia because I don't know what the hell that means, but I get One Piece. If you just said One Piece meets The Godfather, bam, you would have got me right there. But this, the thing about the pitch is you don't have to explain your pitch. Like you don't have to say mythical world meets Naruto meets Korra. First of all, it's already mythical if you've got Naruto and Korra in it, so that's irrelevant. Just say Naruto meets Korra, that's not going to be a great pitch because again, everything has Naruto in it, everything has Korra in it, so it's a bad pitch. But that's a better pitch than mythical world meets Naruto meets Korra. Just like in this case, One Piece meets a New Age Mafia. I know what One Piece is, and I can already see the wackiness of One Piece. But then you throw me when you say New Age Mafia. Like I don't know what the hell that means. Are these mafias who believe in spirituality and they give each other flowers? Like what does that mean? I don't know what that means. I'm sure Ben knows what that means, but as Mariel said, Ben doesn't really describe much of it in the rest of his stuff. This is Ben's first time, so obviously, there's some things to think about. But Ben, that's the key thing I would say to you is, again, think about your audience. When you're putting together the pitch and proposal, some of the things you didn't do, which we asked to do, is give us complete character breakdowns. Describe the characters. Tell us who they are, what the weaknesses are, what the powers are, yada, yada, yada. Tell us about the story. Give us a story synopsis, like this is what, Mafioso is all about. It's about this kid who, he gets banned from the family, and now he's kind of, he decides he wants to be the greatest mafia in the world, the mafioso in the world, so he can change the way the mafia, organization works. Like, that's your plot. That's your plot right there. I think that's your plot. And then all the other stuff that you got in here is really your arc or your backstory, but you kind of confuse all that, so it becomes kind of a mess to understand what's going on. I'm torn because I think there's a lot of potential here. I love the conceit of there being a mafia sort of book with interesting characters. The action sequence, for example, I don't understand what's going on with the action sequences. It looks like one of the characters maybe creates water and it grabs one of the mafia guys, but again, I don't know because you haven't really explained it. So I'm torn because I think this is one of the more original, interesting ideas that we have that in this month's test flight, but the execution is not great, and because of that, it's difficult for me to make this a finalist in that realm. Like, for example, one of the finalists that I said earlier is in here, the flaming one that was kind of like Apple Black and Naruto and everything. This is far more original than that was. The difference was that that had execution. He executed on a couple of levels. This doesn't have the same level of execution, so that's why I don't know if this will make the finals. At least not with me. I don't think it'll make the finals. But I very much would love to see you step back, really devote some time into this, really work a bit on your art, take a real serious approach towards it, and then bring it back as a test flight option entry again, because I think there's some really interesting ideas here. Tweak it, of course, to make it more original than it is, but there's some stuff here I think that could be really good. So any other questions, guys? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. So then, all right, so then our next property we're going to look at, we're coming up towards the end here. So we have a couple of ladies coming up here towards the end. So why don't we begin with our first, although we have some other people as well, not just ladies. Why don't we begin with Regina Acora. She has a work that that has an interesting name to it and has really a quite kick-ass pitch. This is called Neos. I believe she wants you to pronounce it as just that one thing, Neos. And I can just tell you real quickly that the pitch is one of the best pitches here because it does everything I've asked people to do in the pitch. Keep it within anywhere from 4 to 6 words. Keep it really simple and paint me a picture through things that exist that are unique. So you're not just giving me Naruto meets Dragon Ball Z and thinking and then daring me to believe this can be original. It's not going to be original. In this case, Power Rangers meets Lab Rats. No one here has Power Rangers, and no one here has Lab Rats. Both of these are really interesting properties. I'm already curious as to how they come together. So interesting thing there. Basically, there's a lot of things here that kind of intrigue me. There's a lot of backstory here that didn't quite make sense to me. I think it was a bit more complex than it needed to be. In the year 3254, the world has managed to renew the planet's health by injecting it with energy-enhancing wires powered by the UV rays from the sun. Already some complicated stuff there, guys. However, someone has injected a virus into the wires, creating monodrones. The virus is physical form that feeds off of natural energy. So to stop these creatures, 3 scientists, Wei Li, John Stone, and Jessica Newton, spent 10 years trying to create the Neos, naturally enhanced, optimized servicemen gene to stop the monodrones and discover who's behind the virus. Complex, a couple of things that are set up that are a bit much in terms of the world and all stuff. On the other hand, very to the point in terms of what, the plot is just what the last part there. To stop these creatures who are attacking the Earth, they create this new artificial soldier. And that's basically the plot. A lot of backstory thrown in there to kind of give you a sense of it. Some of it, is a bit more, you can kind of wrap your brain around tubes going in and out of the Earth. But I love the setup. Love some of the characters who are in here. What this really is this is really, I forget the name of this. I actually looked it up the day that I read it a couple of days ago. But this is Power Rangers. But there's a word for that. What's it called? It's Seitai, isn't it? Like Seitai, I think is what it's called. Where it's like Power Rangers and not Gotcha Man, but Gotcha Man. All those different, not Gotcha Man. Sorry, Power Rangers and some other things. But it's all the Ultraman, all those characters who kind of dress up in suits and fight. Except it's kind of a Marvel superhero feel to it. The lead character, Sean Lee, kind of reminds me of Quicksilver, which I love that. I love Quicksilver. So I think this is really cool. There are some things here. As much as I love the conceit of it, there's not a lot of backgrounds here, so that kind of bummed me a little bit. Some of the character proportions are a bit off, but there's some energy here. There's some real energy here. I think Regina, art-wise, I think is a bit new to what she's doing, and so there's some things here that, while technically they are on point and have a lot of powerful opportunities to grow, just the fact that, again, there's a lot of stuff that's missing in terms of background, so some anatomy issues. There's some things here like one of the illustrations where Sean Lee is holding something and looking over the area, like there's a building, it's just not even filled in. It's just kind of like, I assume it's a building, I don't know what it is. And those are some of the choices that just I assume these are either choices that I can look at and go, Regina is young, she's developing her skills, she's still trying to figure some of stuff out, or Regina's lazy and didn't want to do that. And I don't want to believe it's the latter option. So I have to believe it's the former option, and that Regina's still working into her own as an artist. Because once you get past that, there's a lot of exciting things there. Definitely one of the more straightforward stories that we have. Definitely one of the more, I like the conceit of where the story is going. So I'm very much on board with a lot of what we're doing with this, where Regina's going with this. But like I said, artistically, there's a couple of places here that I'm a bit troubled by. But otherwise than that, this is very much on the fence for me in terms of whether or not it becomes a finalist. Let me turn it over to Mariel. Mariel, what are your thoughts on Neos?
Yes, sir. I love it, sir. I've always been a fan of Power Rangers. I don't have a clue about lab rats, or
Yeah, lab rats.
I don't have a clue of what that is, but it does have the feel of Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, Voltron, and I love that. I just love that. The group of superheroes out to save the world. It's something a bit generic, some may say, but it's for me it's always enjoyable. I agree with you on the art part, but I am sure she'll grow eventually. It has some nice colors. I'm looking at the cover. I like it. There's some really catchy colors, and well, yes.
Okay, so you definitely love Neos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it has
Wally?
potential for me. It's different from the rest. It can grow to be something good.
Absolutely. Okay, Wally, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's the spandex, guys. You know, that's the secret behind it all. Why you love it so much? It's the spandex. Um, yeah, I have to say that Regina's entry is one of the best of this contest so far. Absolutely love that cover. The angle work is dynamic, the pose is dynamic, and the lighting, it's well done. I mean, it's not the most refined as with most of the art that's seen in this entry, but you cannot deny that she has a lot of potential, a lot of talent in here. Um, the backstory itself is also very interesting, although there is not. She didn't have room to put in everything, but you can tell that she has created a world and a magic system behind it. So in terms of world building, she's done it. So it's not like this is a half-assed idea that she threw together just for the contest.
Right.
This is actually, it sounds like a baby in the work. The comedy page, I like it. The fact that the main character is being like, I'm way past feelings because I'm a superhero now, and then this girl shows a little bit of like teasing him a little bit, and he's like weak. So that's quite funny. The kind of deadpan humor that I would actually use.
Cool.
Action. This actually reminds me of All You Need Is Kill. The way that there are these weird-looking aliens attacking, and like your favorite soldier guys, fighting through a bunch of them from 67% to 99%. It looks like that scene where Kiria Keiji is trying to get to the server and destroy it. Illustrations, pretty good, pretty solid. This one in particular, I like the fact that this really reminds me of either Batman or Superman or Spider-Man, where they are taking a high vantage point and looking down at the city. It's a nice idea for an illustration. And yeah, spandex is always good. Yeah. Yeah, that would be all from me.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like a lot of thoughts on Regina's work. So Regina, great first entry. We will see where it ends up tonight. All right. So that is Regina's work, and let us now go to the next entry we have here, and this is going to be Christopher Thames, I believe. It's called Divinity, which I believe Chris has entered once before. So if you can pull that up there, Wally. Well, while he's doing that, while he's pulling up the Chris Thames one, or Divinity, I think it's Divinity. While he's pulling that up, let me answer a quick question that was posed by Emilio, not sorry, not by Emilio, but by Eli Camacho. One question, Wally, Eli asked if you were using Linux as your operating system. Is that the case? Wally, are you using Linux as your operating system? I don't think you are, but you're using Windows.
Um, no, I'm not. It's just a very heavily modded Windows.
Okay, all right. And then just before we move on to Divinity, and then Eli then asked about the pitch. So I don't want to reiterate the pitch over and over again, but what I said to you guys before regarding pitch and people who are part of the Pilot Manga group. By the way, we will be putting these articles that I put exclusively on the Pilot Manga group. We will be moving those to the Saturday AM blog. So for those of you who are witnessing this but are not a member of the Pilot Manga, you can go to www.saturday-am.com and go to the blog section there. You will see some of these articles this week start to appear because we put a lot of content exclusively in our Pilot Manga group, which is a private group on Facebook. If you want to join, just go to the Pilot Manga section on our website and request membership. But as I've said this before, I mean, the key thing here when you're doing a pitch, the pitch really comes from the idea of how they do things in Hollywood. And the basic conceit is that, you only have a limited amount of time to speak to Hollywood executive. So, you try to present your stuff as best you can without going too far without going too far. And when you state the obvious, it's like no one is going to be intrigued about your pitch. When you state, it's like Transformers that meets, Batman. It's like, that's, I mean, I don't know how to go with that. It's like it doesn't lead me any path. It just kind of takes two really popular things that are out right now. Or it's like Guardians of the Galaxy, meets, superheroes. It's like, well, that is what Guardians of the Galaxy is. So, it's like you're literally taking Naruto, which is a very popular comic, and Legend of Korra, which is a very popular TV show, and you're putting them together. There's not a lot of leap, by the way, between Naruto and Legend of Korra. So, again, you're not succeeding at the pitch by taking things and putting them together. The idea here is to take things that are interesting because that in and of itself should tell you whether or not your story is interesting. If you're literally just saying, I've got a story that is Dragon Ball Z meets Naruto, you must know that's not going to be interesting. That must tell you it's not going to be an interesting idea because what is Naruto but Dragon Ball Z? What is One Piece but Dragon Ball Z meets Pirates? It's like, you have to have more thought in terms of your audience, and so therefore those two type of properties or any popular property meets another popular property is a really poor pitch. That's not the way you do a pitch. Again, Power Rangers versus Lab Rats. She could have very easily, for Regina, could have very easily said, my property is Naruto, meets superheroes or meets One Punch Man because, I'm sure the characters will behave like manga characters and yada yada. But she didn't do that. She took out Power Rangers, which is a very unique concept. Lab Rats, which is another very unique concept. And right off the bat, you've got an intriguing idea that piques interest. And so that's the key thing about the pitch is that you want to take two properties, but you want to make people interested from the pitch. If the only thing the pitch does is make you interested because you're a fan of Naruto and a fan of Korra, then you've not got the idea of the pitch down. So hopefully that answers that. Let's move on. Mariel, why don't you start with the very next item, which while you got it up and running now, which is Divinity by Chris Thames. Mariel, do you want to start with that?
Sure thing, Fred. The Divinity. Another with martial arts. Just my thing. Oh, and I like the idea of a post-apocalyptic future.
Mm-hmm.
And the pitch, Shaman King meets Maggie, the Labyrinth of Magic. Now, again, I don't have a clue of what the last one is.
Mm-hmm.
I am an ignorant. I am sorry, Chris Dames. But I love the main idea, martial arts, post-apocalyptical, and mythological beasts or items. Divine beasts. I like the fantasy touch to the post-apocalyptic concept. I like the artwork too. The coloring is so clean and soft. I like it. Now I'm not sure if I've seen this entry before. I think I didn't, or maybe I'm just imagining things. But overall, I like it. It sounds like it could be a good manga. Obviously, it has the possibility to grow while he's on the on the move. I mean,
Okay.
in everything, developing the characters, the story. It has potential, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, Wally, what are your thoughts? Wally.
Yeah, my computer's lagging a bit. Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the more straight up shonen pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Shaman King, 8 divine beasts that he has in here, and then there is the first arc about acceptance, and there's a very strong friendship, friendship theme going on, and with the dojo training and everything. So it's very straight up shonen. So if he clearly knows which audience he's pitching stuff to,
Mm-hmm.
which is a plus. And this particular action scene, I'm very impressed with it. It shows very clear line of action. Like you have the main character attacking right here, and then there is there's clearly some Naruto / Dragon Ball Z type of continuous punches, and then this last panel is very impressive. The angle that he chose clearly shows the power of the returning punch, and the character shows menace. This is a solid page. Let's go to the embarrassing. Right. Clearly, this is one of the entries where the contestant actually knows how to do a comic page,
Right.
how to lay out his panels. So, in terms of that, it's one of the stronger entries, especially this one. Look at them. The angle work is solid,
Mm-hmm.
and the humor is deadpan. Although I don't think it actually works that well in here. But humor is a tricky thing.
Yeah.
Very solid cover, and yeah, character illustrations. Yeah, very interesting. Some good poses and angle work there. You can see that some is reference and some is not.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, I've been a fan of Chris Thames' work. He has promoted he's submitted to, this will be his third test flight. His artwork is very solid. I mean, he obviously has room to grow in a couple of areas, but his work is very solid. The thing that does disappoint me is that Chris, this is the third time I've seen him. It's the third time I've seen some of these same characters and some similar ideas. So there's an element here where Chris was very much intrigued about his idea. And I remember the first time we saw it, we were like, well, the idea doesn't grab us a great deal, but we love his artwork. We wish he would do something more simple, because it's like it would be so much easier to just wrap, what he's doing into a more simplistic concept that really works. I know Chris Thames, for example, is a good friend with Robert Johnson, who did D.D. Dragoon, and I think one of the things that intrigued us so much with D.D. Dragoon last month, which by the way won the August test flight, was its simplicity. It was the idea, was not trying to tell this highly complicated story, but just trying to, just get to the heart of a story. Here's a good guy, here's a bad guy, here's the quest, done. And there was and let the artwork be the thing that makes it diverse and unique and interesting versus some of these other elements trying to get mythological and things like that, or mythic. And so, so there were some of the elements that kind of bothered me with that, just because I know I'm saying the same thing over and over again. That kind of concerns me a bit. There's been changes, yes, but a lot of the stuff is here. Samara, the character design, and there's a piece of there that kind of just strikes me as a bit stubborn. It's like, well, I don't want to change what I'm doing. And it's like, well, that's great, but why continue entering the same thing if we had the original conclusion that we had the first time we saw it? Chris's work artistically reminds me a lot of SNK. And again, this is one of the things that I kind of find striking is that if Chris were to just do, like, I almost wish Chris would do like a Double Dragon type of thing, just a beat 'em up sort of thing, where the character is just, he's just got some badass characters. He doesn't have to spend a lot of time worried about, this mythical item or that mythical item. He can just kind of get in, tell a story that allows him to do what he's really good at, which is action sequences and laying out pages, and just tell a simplistic story. The same way Double Dragon was a simplistic video game. I actually would love to see something like that from Chris. Shaman King is interesting as a pitch because I was one of the executives who worked trying to make Shaman King a big deal in the United States. We had a big promotion with it around at Blockbuster Corporate when I was executive with Blockbuster, and it failed miserably. And I always have a soft spot for Shaman King because I tried so hard to make that a big deal in America with the company who brought it over called 4Kids, and it didn't happen. And I've always regretted that. Because I love the property. I think it's a really cool property. But so I love the fact that you referenced that. There are a lot of things here that are cool. As Wally pointed out, as Mariel pointed out, you've got some really interesting ideas here that happen. Again, there's some things that the pages don't really tell us, or that the story doesn't tell us much about what these characters actually can do. I mean, you make this point here in your character description of Halo. He's a 10th grade martial arts student who strongly believes that a person can shape their own destiny. That's great. That's great. I don't know what that necessarily says about his personality, but that's a great sort of statement about the character. But then you say, is challenged once he awakens Samara and is shackled to a predetermined fate. Well, what is that fate exactly? Like, what is that fate? Like, that's the sort of thing it's like, I'm the consumer. Give me the excitement, and then also I'm your editor, so give me the information that's going to make me say, okay, you've actually got an intriguing plot here long term. It's like you're doing one or the other. It's like trying to tease me, and I don't need to be teased. I need to be given the whole story. And then conversely, the stuff here that you're extremely explicit about in terms of some of the mythical aspects of it, for me, they don't necessarily do anything for me. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it because I think Chris is incredibly talented artistically. I would love to see Chris again do something that I think fits more where he's at story-wise right now. But that being said, though, Chris is an immense talent, and he is certainly worthy of creating a pilot that can really take it to the next level, because his artistic talent is without question, and Chris is someone that I think is capable of doing so much more. So I'm kind of torn on whether it's a finalist, but I very much enjoyed seeing Chris simply back with us. That's made me excited to know that Chris is still in the game. So we will find out where Chris shakes out here in a minute. Only 4 more properties to go. So let's go with Dorothy Blount, who's got Misfits in Toyland. Misfits in Toyland is next. All right. Mariel, would you like to go first? I like closing. I like finishing up.
Just a second.
Yes. Okay. Well, Wally, why don't you go first? Why don't you go ahead and go first?
All right. I certainly think this is one of the more light-hearted entries, which I like, because everyone's so serious. It's like, save the world and everything, and then we have Misfits in Thailand.
Yeah.
Nightmare Before Christmas meets Panty and Stocking. That's perfect. Yeah,
absolutely.
I want to see some of that positivity in everyone's work, and a little bit of goofiness, a little bit of, you know, like, because a lot of readers, there are a lot of readers who go into comics and expect to see, you know, a masterclass, you know, a really serious and really deep and really mind-boggling story. And then there are readers who actually just want to lose themselves into the fantasy of a work, and, you know, like a good sort of escapism that they wanna you know, go to whenever they, you know, go back from school or work or from a stressful day. So something like this is perfect. I thought the pitch was, you know, incredibly interesting, because, you know, Christmas is a theme that you don't see in manga, because obviously Christmas is not a primarily Japanese thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, from a Western perspective, for someone to be doing a manga focusing on Christmas, that's, you know, that's great. Art-wise, I certainly like the style. The style is, you know, slightly shoujo, slightly slice of life. Reminds me of that show Gekkan Shoujo Nozaki-kun that I've been watching throughout the last season, which I love. It's taking a while to load. Yeah, that cover, absolutely adorable.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah.
And the thought that, you know, the fact that she put issue 30 in here, it's like, I want to be until issue 30, so
Right.
I might fail, but I'll try again. Yeah. Dorothy certainly knows her screen tones and her effects, so I think she has manga studio, and, you know, the art is very decent. There's action, and there's still that cuteness, which is fresh. And the humor is not, I mean, it's not the best, but it's quite well placed for what it is. Yeah, that's what I have so far. I like it. I like it.
Okay. So I think we may still be waiting on Mariel. Mariel, let us know when you're back.
I'm back.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
The thing is, my cat was biting me, so I had to put her down. Now, this one really got my attention. It's unique. I think the mix of something cute with something. I mean, the plot with something a bit creepy is not something anyone can achieve so easily. I give her points for that. It's amazing. The art style kind of reminds me of Higurashi, that one anime where everyone is so cute but dies horribly every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's somewhat similar, but not too similar. I love the cover. It's so cute. You'll never think that the plot is a bit actually dark and sinister. The coloring, I love the coloring, bright colors, and like Wally said, the Christmas theme is not something you see every day in a manga.
No.
And I love the grayscale she uses. I think she might use Manga Studio. She knows how, actually, unlike me, and the pages look great. I mean, the tones, what are they called? Grayscales, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It looks fine. It has potential, and I definitely like it. Just the thing about the main story, I find it a bit too mature in some aspects.
Yes, I know what
Maybe
you're getting at.
change. Yeah, I maybe change some things, but the main idea, I like it. It's unique, and yes, that's pretty much about it.
Okay. Okay, so my thoughts are pretty much what everyone else has said. I think a couple of things. One, just so we can move quickly through this. I agree. I think it's fantastic that this plot features Christmas. I think, again, that's one of the things that when I started my footprint, started Saturday AM, the idea was to bring Western sensibilities into manga because I think there's a distinct lack of that. And this is a great example of once you bring some Western ideas into manga, you infinitely have or instantly have a different perspective that you can introduce through manga that was not there before. And of course, obviously, there's other Eastern ideas as well. But just once you expand manga from beyond just the Japanese mentality, you open up the ideas of manga into some really interesting places. So this is a good example of that. I agree with Mariel with what is such an interesting plot as described in the presentation of the story, and the pitch. You know, a very mature thing happens in the second page. Where the character is describing what happened with her mother and Santa Claus, which is like, wow, okay, that's a bit much. The thing that concerned me more than anything was just I felt like the art just really was different in a couple of places. Cover fantastic. The 2 pages are not bad at all. The 2 pages actually are really great, close up and so forth. But lack of backgrounds, and then once we get into then when we look at the villain, like her thighs, like that entire image is not anatomically accurate. You know, great ideas, but it's just not there, and so that was a concern, but not a concern in the sense like I think this is a really great idea. I think it's an idea that I'd love to see. The question is just is an idea that Dorothy can perfect as she spends a bit more time with the story, is able to really think about her audience, because again, the mature pieces that are in here are very mature. Potentially, to which case then you got a different type of story you're telling than just the Christmas story. You're telling a story that is really more of an adult story, but it's got Christmas as a backdrop, which is fun, but I think that did inform some of the choices that you make artistically and so on. And then conversely, some of the things that artistic, like I said, you know, like the villain's thighs and just her overall anatomy, that would get fixed, and then and then backgrounds, you know, like I said, there's a distinct lack of backgrounds. As great as those 2 pages are, everything from the shading to some of the tricks, like in the 4th panel of one of the pages, the fighting page, where like the character, like it's kind of like a negative effect. Like those are all really, really smart. The lettering is actually pretty good here. So some really talented things going on here. But the fact that there is a distinct lack of the body layout, just the physical, the aspect of creating a character's body, some of that's off, and then just no backgrounds. Those were some things that were kind of glaring at a certain point. But I do like the idea very much so. So yeah, this is a really good entry. We'll have to think about whether or not this goes into the next slot. Okay, so any other comments before we move on, guys? All right, so let's then go to, let's see here, we've got, I think, a few more to go, and some are not labeled exactly right, so I know there's some people who are like, hey, what about my property, but literally their property wasn't labeled, so we have to find it. Let's go to Chitulu Hernandez. And Wally, would you like to speak on Chitulu Hernandez? Would you like to start us off?
Right. Chitulu Hernandez.
Right.
His illustrations are great. His illustrations are great. That's I'm gonna start off with that. The pages are too busy. I can't tell. Oh, there's some good things going on here. Some of the action, and he clearly tries to draw his background. His stuff reminds me a lot of Shapeshifters on our afternoon WebEx. Some of the action here is very dynamic, but I unfortunately can't really follow it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know if it's supposed to be read from left to right or right to left. But the art is very clean,
Mm-hmm.
very solid, and with more training and with once he's learned how to really edit his pages on the computer, so that the contrast is increased. It looks like it actually looks black and white. Then it'll look a lot more solid than it is now. The humor is it's quite straightforward, and it's been done before, kind of thing. Like, oh, are you okay, boy? This is a tough town. Hi, and and the person stands up and punches him, and reveals that she's a girl, which it's okay. The story, the pitch itself, the cover is great, by the way. Look at this cover. That's great. Character design, it's all there. There's certainly no doubt that this person's artistic abilities are adequate. But in terms of pitch, we don't see much of it because Cthulhu unfortunately just sent in very little details on everything. So that does not adhere to our rules, but we'll do with what we have. So Yutha is participating in a tournament called G-Arm Tournament, which I think is a play on G-Pen, which aims to prove who is the best delivery users in ink, tattoos. I don't actually understand it because I think there's a little bit of a language barrier there. But basically, it's a battle royale kind of, not battle royale, the manga, but like battle royale type of tournament. And then it's the first arc is pretty much the same thing as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's not much in terms of story there, but I can certainly see the idea. It's shonen, very shonen.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go next, and then Mariel, I'll let you have last word on that title. So I actually liked it a great deal. I understand everything Wally's saying. I agree with everything Wally's saying. First of all, first things first. I mean, again, this is just a good example of, like I said, take your presentation seriously. And again, let me be clear. I state this because, part of participation in pilot manga is the idea of giving you a simulation of what it feels like to deal with a big company. We're not a big company. We're certainly not, Jim Lee or Jeff Johns or Joe Quesada or anybody like that. So please do not get it twisted. I'm not trying to tell you guys that dealing with us is like dealing with them. What I am trying to tell you, though, is that I've got a corporate background, and I make our talent stick to professionalism in terms of how they do stuff that we do with Saturday AM and Afternoon WebX, and I expect the same of the creators who do pilot manga, because even if you don't win with us, if all you do is take away the experience of the deadline, of the need to try to put together a professional presentation, if that's all you take away from it, that's still great, because that you will be faced with stuff like that on a far more in-depth scale when you deal with big companies like Marvel, DC, Image, and so on. So, so this was a good example. Cthulhu Hernandez, and there's some other ones too, because I'm just trying to find Cameron Knight's file as well. It's like, label your files. We have a ton of stuff coming in. You cannot find your file when just literally it's called, test flight, with no date on it and so forth, or just your name. We need more than that. But I disagree with Wally here. I actually am very impressed with Cthulhu Hernandez's artwork. I think that the fact that Cthulhu has that much stuff going on his page. Now, yes, Wally's 100% right. Traditional panel breakdown involves actual draftsmanship and paneling, laying out sufficient separation between, one page and, between one image and the next. And in this case, the panels, such that they are just literally just lines, and that's not how you do it. That being said, there's no denying that of all the stuff that we've gotten today, this is the most detailed stuff that we've gotten. Like, there's no question that there's backgrounds here, and there's activity happening here, and there are different perspectives here This is quality stuff, and I think this deserves to be treated with that sort of respect. This is very quality stuff. Let me also state as well, I mean, Wally doesn't know this, and so our judges don't know this, but I work with all the creators. Once you actually make it to the final slot, if we preview the finalists, and of course the winner, then you go through a 5 to 6 week period dealing with us, where you actually talk with you about your work, about contouring your story, working on some of the things with your artwork, and getting you ready to actually do your pilot manga. So again, we're taking that extra step to take you to the next level. Whereas again, if you did this with other websites, you know, Equal Legends to Passing, so on and so forth, you're just literally putting your stuff up there and waiting to get, you know, likes or comments on your page. But no one's actually actively working with you to develop your logo, develop your look, develop your comment, your style, everything. And that's what we try to do. So, you know, so this is material that can be worked with as far as I'm concerned. I you know, look at this and I'm like, you know, I see character designs, I see a lot of opportunity in terms of the world being built. No question that Cthulhu has is not the, you know, does not have the most prolific number of things that they're talking about in the story. I could not tell you a great deal about what the story is about. One thing that does intrigue me, though, and this reminds me a lot of when I dealt with Leonardo Massa with Islanders. Cthulhu, first of all, in our pilot manga group, it's well established that Cthulhu's first language is not English, and so therefore, you know, Cthulhu often has things that he will state that that he has to repeat in a different way because, you know, it just comes across not in the most understandable way in English, and that's fine. I mean, you know, he certainly speaks English better than I speak Spanish. That being said, though, I'm intrigued with this notion that that the users have these ink tattoos that can basically, the impression I get is that they can create, that there's a certain power to having the tattoos. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's the impression being given off by what he stated in the backstory, and that intrigues me. That would be far more original than just about any other idea that we've had in terms of powers and abilities and things like that, which of course is the heart of any action-based manga. So I must say, I'm totally intrigued by what Cthulhu's presented. Totally agree that there's a lot of mistakes here and things that aren't accurate, things that should have been done better. I wish that Cthulhu would put together a more professional presentation. But given what has been presented, I'm actually quite intrigued and enamored with this. Mariel, what are your thoughts?
Yes, sir. Just to make it short and quick, I love the character design. They're great. The artwork is nice. I love it. Needs to work a bit on the paneling though. The handwriting on the dialogues, it looks a bit off. And what else? I also understood the same thing as you. I think the characters have like power-ups in their tattoos, similar to summoning elements or so. And I liked although I like the Lovecraftian reference, I don't see how Cthulhu fits on the story. Maybe it's just the tattoo power-up the main character has. Mm-hmm. Like I see him mention Quetzalcoatl too. That's an Aztec god. Story-wise, it's a bit confusing. I know you're all set. The characters with great abilities. I love it. I love everything. But story-wise, I think it will work a bit more on the plot. Because I mean, it's really confusing. I don't really know what's going on.
Right.
And that's pretty much about it. But I overall like it. It has caught my attention.
Agreed. Okay. All right. So we have, I think, 3 more to go. 2 of them had been labeled not the best, so we'll have to get those towards the end. The last one that we're looking at that's actually here in the file folder is it's at the very bottom of the window. It's called Test Flight Submission. The manga itself is actually called, well, actually, I don't know what it's called. Vigilante Justice meets Dojo Challenges.
Armor.
Armor, that's right, Armor, yep. Okay, well, Mariel, since you spoke up, you get to go first.
Why me? Okay, here goes. I admit the plot is interesting. I think the plot is interesting. It's something that could happen in reality. Characters are a bit simple, in my opinion. but I like their designs. But personality, I think they're a bit simple. Um, I couldn't see the pictures on the folder, so I had to download the whole archives. Um, what I see from the proposal is something similar to Kick-Ass with vigilantes and with a little bit of science fiction, which is good.
Hmm.
And the paneling, well, we still need to work on that, but I say that the story is interesting.
Hmm.
I love to see to see it get a bit more of a development.
Okay.
And I think that's all I have to say for now.
Okay. All right. So Wally, I'll go next, Wally. Yeah, I agree with Marielle. The idea caught me in a couple of places. There were some things that I thought was quite interesting with the stuff that was there, but for the most part, some of the character designs were a little stiff. It's interesting because Ben Ducati had his idea for the mafioso thing, and this kind of has a similar sort of world of crime, which I kind of like that idea a lot. In fact, let me just, if people can't see it, because some of the images are not laid out the best here, but basically the backstory is that in this world, crime has become organized, and become more organized, sorry, and began dominating the public while law enforcement becomes slower and more corrupt. There are fewer branches of law enforcement that still stay true to the honor code, but their numbers continue to fall. Over the years, cities have created their own borders with a patrol unit as well as certain communities. With all the heavy guard duty, the police force is even slower to respond with their very small numbers. Before he was born, Kato Gold's parents, love that name by the way, it's like a 1980s Japanese version of a TV show. Kato Gold's parents were the last family eligible to live in this safer community. Driven to find a way to improve the world, Kato decides to find a way for everyone to live out a safe and peaceful life. So, it's just kind of like, I mean, when I saw it, I kept getting visions of like a bit of like this kind of standard mafia, sort of thing, and then I got this, or criminal sort of world. But then I kind of got this view as well of like Attack on Titan, frankly, which I actually thought would have been kind of a cool thing. It's like, what if there was an old French movie called District 13, I think, or District B13 or something like that, and it was like this future in like crime, basically all the crime areas had been like sealed off, kind of like Judge Dredd, if you guys ever read Judge Dredd. And so I always thought it was kind of a cool idea, and this kind of strikes me as something similar to that. And so I think it could have actually, it would have been a really cool pitch, like Batman meets Attack on Titan or something like that. I think that actually would have been kind of intriguing. Um, so, there's some interesting ideas here. I can't say I felt a great deal of excitement about it for a variety of reasons. You know, just it wasn't explained a great deal to me much. Some of the stuff is set up there. It's like the ideas are set up, but there's not really a great deal of execution beyond there. So, but I did like it. I liked the name. I liked some of the concepts. Character designs are very plain, very very plain. But I did like the way it kind of presented stuff. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this because it reminds me a great deal of like old school manga of the Leiji Matsumoto era, which is kind of intriguing and nice to see. But it's not, there's nothing about it that kind of has that energy and fervor to it that you see today. So I don't know, because I'm kind of on the fence with this personally. There's some interesting ideas here, but nothing that kind of grabs me dramatically. Wally, your thoughts? Wally? Wally, you there? Hmm. Wally, are you there? Okay. All right. So Wally's computer is frozen. We're going to give him a moment to kind of get himself set back up there. So what we're going to do is, Mariel, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So we're going to let Wally come back when he gets his computer back up and running. And we're going to let Wally come back then. Why don't we hit the final entries? The first up is Eli Camacho. Did you get that link that I sent?
Yep.
Okay. So would you like to chat on Eli's work?
I think you should go first.
Okay. All right. Give me one moment then. Let me see. I think Wally's replying. He might be back in the middle too. Okay. All right. So everybody, again, this is live Google Hangouts. Everything is not always the smoothest, but we're trying to get things back on track here. It does happen like this sometimes, unfortunately. Okay. So we have Eli Camacho's work. Have a bit of an issue with it when it was submitted initially. Again, different sort of naming conventions, so we're trying to get that stuff fixed as we move forward in the future here. But let me pull it up here. Eli, of course, is one of our members in the Pilot Manga group. Many of you guys know Eli. You've certainly seen him in the Pilot Manga group. And so, let's see here. All right. Okay. So this Eli's work is let's see here. Eli, I think this is the thing. This was the issue that we kept having with your thing, was that you had different naming conventions for it. You had initially it was Prime Celeste, and it was the September test flight, but you still got him listed as August. So I think that was one of the challenges that we had here. Eli, do me a favor, because I know you submitted it on time, but again, we really got to improve the way we do naming conventions here. Send us a link again for that so we can look at it one more time, so we can kind of catch this, because we really don't want to be doing this in the future like this. So send it one more time, please, the normal way, and we'll make sure we have a chance to check that out. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. So okay, looks like Wally is back. So I'll make sure Wally gets back onto the chat here. Wally, why don't you finish up while we work through and get everything set up with Eli and Cameron? Why don't you finish up with your thoughts regarding? Okay, so Wally's still restarting his computer. Okay. All right. So. All right. Well, so while we're doing that, then Wally's no longer in the chat. So while we're getting set up again, we apologize for the delays here, folks. This is live videos, how stuff works sometimes, unfortunately. Did you get the link from Cameron, Mariel? You got the Stir Fry Samurai.
Which one? Fry cook?
Fry cook samurai. Sorry, yeah, I'm not where I got stir fry from. Yes, fry cooks.
I did, yes, I did.
Fry cook samurais. Although stir fry samurai is also very cool. All right, so would you like to comment on this first?
Well, Yeah. Just by looking at the name, I thought, wow, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a Saturday Night Live sketch with John Belushi. We was
You remember that? Yes.
the Delicatessen Samurai or something like that.
Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
That's why it really caught my attention. Samurai Champloo meets fast food cuisine. Oh my God, that's so clever. That's hilarious in a good way.
Yes.
It reminds me of I don't know if you watch any Stephen Chow movies, Kung Fu Hustle or Shaolin Soccer.
Yes. 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 Yes.
It has that vibe. To me,
Yes.
it has that vibe. The story is it's interesting. It's a war, and then there's peace, but it's not over, and everyone think it was a legend or something. And the character starts as a nobody, actually, just a regular guy working in a fast food restaurant, and then the grandfather is teaching him food jutsu.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, this is hilarious. I'm smiling. I'm just looking at the description.
Yeah.
It's a typical story of good versus evil, but it's I can see it's a comedy. I love comic mangas, but not any comedy. This is witty and clever. I love it.
Yes. Yes.
It's just not characters doing crazy stuff in every panel. No, it's actually clever.
Yes.
Very nice. And the art is stunning. It's amazing. The coloring, it looks wow. It's neat. And the Guardian, it's a bottle of ketchup.
Yes. That's his guardian. Yeah.
Wow. And I like the cover and the how are they called, the little flowers of in Japan, sakura,
This.
peach tree,
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what you.
on the cover with the
Oh.
striking a pose, and then the
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're telling me. Yeah.
yeah, if that doesn't tell samurai, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
And,
So go ahead.
I love that he chose spoon as the
Yes.
match, because
Yes.
it's as original and crazy as spoon is.
Yeah. Very
I
much. So.
actually love spoon. I haven't read anything as funny and original as spoon.
Yeah.
I think this might be the next one. Watch out, David. I know you're hearing.
So yeah. So is that all you have?
I'm just looking at a French fry samurai.
Yes, French fries.
I don't know what to think of it, but it's hilarious. I love it. It's so crazy and goofy, but I like it.
I've already given Cameron the idea for stir fry samurai too, so he's got a lot of ideas he can steal from us. So I like this a great deal too. I mean, I would say easily this is a finalist for me. This was something that I had noticed some time ago in the Palomar group. And I'm happy, like I said, I don't know exactly how I know I got mixed up because when all these things came through, and I remember Cameron wrote me and said he'd be received, and I told him, yeah, because I remember seeing it thinking, well, this is really impressive stuff, but again, not labeled right. We're going to talk about that when we finish this video tonight. We'll talk to everyone about labeling your stuff correctly so it doesn't get lost. But that being said, my frustration with Cameron on that front, let me say two things. One, so a couple of some things. I mean, Cameron's art is very strong. That doesn't mean it's perfect. I mean, there's some images here. There's some backgrounds, lack of backgrounds here. The action sequence where not Rue, the kid's name is Roy, which is great. I love his American name like Roy. Why not just go all out, Cameron, and name him Tyrone, and then the Japanese last name? But I do love the fight. that the characters have. I don't, but the problem, one of the things I see though, is that the stance that Roy has. I mean, it's just very, it's just very It's very static. And I know that, of course, Roy is not bothered by this other guy. Roy is very tough. He can easily, avoid a sword fight with this guy. But it does look stiff, and so that's the thing that, that's one of the things that's artistically that kind of it makes me say, okay, as good as Cameron is, there's still obviously room to grow. Some of the artwork's a little stiff. There's some lack of backgrounds in some places that where there should be backgrounds. But without a doubt, there's some creativity here. There's some real cleverness here. There's not enough really for me to go off of in terms of how deep the story can go, but there's enough ideas here. First of all, let me also state just the illustration where Roy is cooking in the kitchen. His father and the ketchup god or spirit is in the corner. Like, that's the best single illustration that we've had so far in this test flight, because it totally captures the character, totally captures the storyline, the world. Like, you get everything about this comic in that one illustration, and it's in full color, and it's good color. I mean, that's Cameron has one of the best covers that we've seen today. Has one of the best illustrations. The logo, which Mariel, you love the other logo for Mafioso. This is the best logo so far tonight, easily. Frederick Samurai's logo is fantastic. So, yeah, I'm really impressed. I was really impressed with this. Again, some criticisms, but impressed overall. Let's see if Wally's made it back on. Wally is on. Wally, we'll leave you to give commentary on the one that you fell off on, which was do Stir Fry the Samurai one, and then the one that you fell off on, which I'm drawing a blank as to what that was. I think it was called Armor. And then we'll finish up the final one, which is Eli Camacho.
Wait, which one are we looking at? Is it Fry Cook Samurai?
Right now we're looking at Fry Cook Samurai, yep.
Okay. Alright.
And then give your commentary on Armor, which was the one right before you.
Armor, okay. Sure. Alright. Oh, yeah, I was gonna give my commentary on Armor earlier on, but my computer froze. And I was gonna say that Armor was a, it'd be better to say that it was a mix between Red Hood and the Outlaws and Kick-Ass. Because it dealt with a world of organized crime, like Gotham, where the police force is nowhere near enough to stop crime, and then we have a band of vigilantes banding together, like Red Hood and the Outlaws. But the thing is, they are goofy, so they're more like Kick-Ass, which I think is a interesting idea, which could be fun to read, more fun than serious.
Yes.
But the art was too generic.
Right, and nor did it. I mean, I think it's a great idea. I'm just saying it's a great idea, but they don't. You don't get the sense that it was fun. So, because you're right, had he gone with a humor mentality, then that could have been very intriguing. Yeah. So that was that entry, Armor, for me. And Fry Cook Samurai, I gotta say, Fry Cook Samurai is one of the best, one of the better entries. Do you need me to do screen share? You can if you'd like, just so people who are seeing this can check it out.
Right. So Fry Cook Samurai, my favorites, my personal favorites, especially the illustrations, really good, and the contestant obviously knows how to do his comic pages, so that's no question there. And in terms of talent and the ability to do colored work, there's no doubt that this person is artistically adequate.
Mm-hmm.
The story is also very interesting. Like you have a samurai who's a cook. What better way to that is about as unique as we get in the test flight so far.
Yes.
So overall, I just I love the idea.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna do, everybody, because we're now definitely at the 2-hour mark here. So here's what we're gonna do. We still have Eli Camacho's work, which again we had, but he had done a different title. So we're now trying to make sure that we have this as a chance to look at it. And I know exactly why Eli was concerned about the Naruto Korra thing. But we will run through that, and what we're going to do though is we're gonna take a moment, pause, and so everyone feel free to chat. We're going to take about 5 minutes. We're going to discuss our finalists, and then we'll come back also with Eli Camacho's work, and we'll discuss that, and then we'll reveal our finalists and our winners. So let's take 5 minutes, and Wally, you and Mariel, let's make sure we communicate via chat, but also take a moment to look at Eli's work to make sure that you've had a chance to review that. In the meantime, guys, before during this 5-minute period before it starts, take a quick break and make sure I remind you guys all that we really appreciate you guys checking us out. This is the 3rd test flight we've done. We've had ridiculous attendance on each one, and really, really appreciate you guys coming out and supporting us. If you don't know who we are, again, my name is Frederick Jones. I'm the publisher, founder of several digital lines that we have, our biggest being Saturday AM. Think about the Saturday cartoons, and now put that in the form of new, modern, original manga content developed exclusively online and developed by exclusively amateur creators from around the world. Our biggest property, Apple Black, is from a Nigerian named White Manga. Wally Nguyen, who's one of our judges tonight, has a really excellent property called COMATOSE. We also have properties like Bully Eater from Raymond Brown, Metallica Lux Nova from Mikhail Dingle, TTX, a futuristic racer from Vertical Fish, a great manga creator that you guys should be checking out. We also have Saigami, one of our most popular titles, and that's a beautiful shoujo shonen sort of mix from Andrea Voros out of Hungary. And then, of course, we have a property that we just debuted called Massively Multiplayer World of Ghosts. Think Tron meets Naruto, stuff like that, and you've got this property, and that's by myself and an artist that we have named Desmond Thompson. These titles make up Saturday AM, a digital manga magazine anthology like Shonen Jump. It comes out every 2 weeks, and it is jam-packed. It's anywhere from 75 to 80 pages up to over 100 pages per issue. We have the best deal in comics, meaning that you can support these independent manga creators, support the ability to take webcomics into the future by subscribing to us for just $5 a year. You get 20 issues, and I can tell you, 2015, that's going to change. So if you are a fan of what we're doing, lock in that price today. $5 gets you 20 high-res PDF files that come out every 2 weeks, and guess what? They're DRM free, so you can certainly play around with them. But we're really proud of the work that we do. We know that we produce some of the best content you can buy digitally. That includes Marvel, DC, Image, Viz, and of course Comixology. When you do it with us, you're supporting independent creators immediately. And I also want to give one final shout out to Saturday Wars, which is an original Kickstarter that we're doing. You can support independent comic creators online from around the world by supporting our Kickstarter. It's happening right now. In fact, we've only got 9 days left. We've raised just at 10% of what we're trying to raise, and we're trying to raise $10,000, and the reason is because we want to produce a 200-page physical book, a graphic novel, that can sit on comic book shelves, on your shelf, right next to Naruto volumes, to Avengers graphic novels, and X-Men and Batman trade paperbacks. What better way to support new independent creators like White Manga, myself, Wally Nguyen, Ray Brown, and so on, than to support what we're doing with Saturday Wars. If you do that, there's some great rewards that we have, including obviously the graphic novel itself, but you also get some t-shirts, you get an original calendar that'll tell you about all the cool things we have coming up in 2015, you get some bookmarks and so on. You also get to see original artwork from all the creators who create content for us, including Mariel Villareal, our fantastic creator from Mexico who does Wanted, Dead, or Dead. That is one of the free webcomics that we offer through a line called ActingWebX. They're free. They update every single week, and they feature right now 4 properties that update on every day, or once on each day of the week. And so we're really proud of Wanted, Dead, or Dead, Spoon, Storybook, and another title we have called Shapeshifters. We'll be adding more titles to ActingWebX very soon, again for completely free. And so we highly recommend that you support those creators as well. Just go to the website, check out what we're doing, and support us. You can go to the website www.saturday-am.com. And if you don't feel like the subscription's for you, if you don't feel like Saturday Wars is for you, all we ask is that you at least make sure you share the links for the stuff that we're doing to other people who might be interested. Help us get the word out. We're producing some really stunning stuff, and I'm surprised that we're not being featured by Comic Book Resources or Any Cool News or some of the other websites that cover this stuff. We're doing really amazing stuff, and we deserve to get covered. Some of these guys who are working every day on the stuff that we produce, and we really need your help to make sure we get the word out. So thanks again for watching this test flight. We do it every month. You can also tune in every Saturday night. Right now we're on a break, but starting the next couple of weeks we'll be doing Saturday Q&A, which will be a live talk show with new webcomic creators. We do it every single Saturday. We'll be starting the new episodes of that back up here soon. You can find all of our video content on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/myfootprint. That's MYFUTPRINT/. Everybody, we're about to reveal the winners, the finalists, and the winner. And we're also going to talk about Eli Camacho, who has got a work called Prime Celeste. That is the final entry of the September test flight. So thanks for your patience. Thanks for tuning in. And let's connect here very soon. Give us about another couple of minutes as we just tabulate our results, and then we'll come back with the review for Eli Camacho's work, and we'll talk about who are the winners. So just give us one moment. Okay, everybody, this is Frederick, and we are back. Thanks, everybody. Looks like we only lost a handful of people, like literally like 2 or 3 people. So, thank you guys for holding on with us. It is extremely difficult, I got to say. We like last month, the competition gets extremely difficult because there is so much talent, so much potential talent. And so it's just a lot of stuff going on, but we certainly are working to see, to create the right sort of momentum with the things that we're doing. So definitely, definitely excited that you guys are, are following us or doing the test flights, and we really appreciate it. So I just want to say, first of all, to everybody who has participated, thank you for participating. And if you didn't make it to the finalists this month, again, we do this thing every month. Next month, I can tell you as well, we're going to have some really unique ideas in terms of rules, so do pay attention to that. Before we reveal the finalists today for this month, last month, let us comment on 2 properties. One was Eli Camacho's Prime Celeste, and another is Raphael's, I believe, Jason Raphael, because I know his real name. Work, which we had listed, and again, I'm going to reiterate this again. Do not do this a second time. Whether you are new or not to our group, do not do this a second time. Label your folders accurately. And if you go back and look at the rules, I lay out the naming conventions, the month, the name of the property, and your name. And it's very clear what I've asked for there. And that makes it a lot easier for us to find. Literally, these last 2 literally just had like names that were just September or whatever. Why don't we start with Prime Celeste by Eli Camacho? Wally, why don't we start with you on that one? Wally, are you there? Okay. Well, I think your mic's on. There we go. Okay. You got your mic fixed. You ready to go?
All right.
Remove the check. Okay.
Yeah. Well, first off, let's look at the. Yeah, the art is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
I can see a lot of Legend of Korra influence in the character designs actually.
Mm.
Like I'm not sure if it's intentional, but all the characters.
His pitch is Naruto meets Avatar.
Yeah, yeah. So like you can see you can actually see Korra's clothing herself on the characters. The art is certainly strong, and I certainly like the idea of animals being related to the powers. And it's not a. I mean, it is very similar to the tailed beasts in Naruto, but it's different because in here it's more like the essence of the animals. So yeah, I mean, I like what I see so far. What do you think?
So he presented this last month, and there were some things that he didn't do, so he presented it a second time. I was going to offer him some commentary and so forth with it last time, but we got so deep into the time frame that I didn't think it would be appropriate to offer some suggestions on it. What I'll say is a couple things. One, so I'm intrigued a lot that Eli is a very thoughtful guy. I think if you guys have seen him in the chat room, Eli is very thoughtful. He has a lot of passion for the stuff that we're trying to do in general. And so I'm really taken by Eli as a person. I think in the case of this, I think one of the things with Prime, and it's Prime Celeste, by the way. He makes it very clear that this is a mixture of kind of a Spanish tone in the way that he relates to some of the material that's being spoken. And there's some things I like about what Eli's trying to do here, but there's some other elements as well that I don't necessarily get with. So first of all, let's talk about the art. Eli is incredibly talented. I think that actually is quite clear. There's a stiffness to the work, though. Let's also be very clear about that. There's a stiffness to the work that, sometimes when I look at Eli's work, I remember when I saw some of the pages a while back, I thought to myself, I was like, are these all illustrations? Because they're very stiff. It's not the action sequences are not per se pronounced in the sort of motion that you normally get, even though clearly he's got motion happening. So that kind of threw me, because I think, like Eli, if I looked at your work in another context, I would think you were like a fashion designer, because your characters are very kind of lithe, they're very kind of thin and lithe, and they have kind of a straightforward look, and then then the clothing is kind of what makes them unique and separate. Aside from Kai, who has the curly hair, which is very cool, by the way, and I know obviously a little bit of that's based on your own personal look, but visually there's some interesting ideas there, but just again, some of the art's kind of stiff in terms of that. It reminds me a little bit, and I talked about this last month, it reminds me of a work, a Viz manga called Claymore, which if you look at Claymore's another work where the artist is very, he's competent, and he's very, I mean, Claymore is a big manga in Japan, and it came to America as an anime, but his character images reminds you a lot of your stuff, because the stuff is very like stiff, there's not a lot of fluidity in a lot of the action and so forth. But but again, I give you high points for the effort. It's like you're trying different things there, and that's very cool. I mean, one of the action sequences where Kai is able to channel an aspect of a beast. Like that whole sequence is pretty cool with how he's able to create the fangs, create the claws of an animal on his hands and so forth. All that is very well done, very cool. There is, there's an element like the Terrell image, like I said, it's kind of stiff. There's not a lot of muscle definition and stuff with the legs, and Cherry even doesn't quite, just seems kind of like a block that he's sitting in. I can tell he's sitting in a chair, but there's a lot of other stuff missing there that makes that a strong image. I think, for me, like, again, this is one of those things where, when I look at the overall concept, there is so much backstory and new world being set up that, just in a blunt way, as someone who wants to produce content that's going to be successful, it's hard for me to get excited about it, because there's so much kind of like, it's like I have to put myself in this world, and I think this is an issue I see a lot of our creators do. We're going to talk about this when we get to the finalists. But a lot of creators, it's like you've created this world that is so specific to the stuff that you've got that, either you've got to have dynamic artwork power you through it so that it attracts the attention of other people, or you've got, or the plot just has to be so basic it's ridiculous, because, it's like there's just so much stuff to kind of wrap your head around that it's like it's like being in school, frankly. It's like when you're in school and a teacher starts trying to tell you stuff, and he starts going into all this detail, you start losing consciousness, because it's like, this is just a lot of stuff for me to keep track of. You've kind of got that going on with the Spanish piece there, the Civil War. You've got these two tribes, these very interesting names you have to kind of remember and learn, and it's just kind of all this stuff that's being set up there, so that when I kind of get to the overall idea of the characters, it's like I'm already kind of like burnt out. You're starting with this stuff with the Civil War, and it's a lot of stuff to absorb overall, when it's like, I feel like when you've got already what is an interesting world, fantastic design in terms of the actual costume, the world building is really fantastic, but past that, so I'm not sure I'm getting a lot of the kind of exciting elements here. If Kai can, basically, create a beast, or he's connected to a beast, and he can kind of create these, this like morph into his body, and like these claws and stuff, the spirit animal. If he can do those sorts of things, it's like I kind of want to have have more of a picture of that in the story than a lot of this other stuff here. You also talk about how Kai's kind of this silly type, and when I look at the picture of Kai, he seems kind of like a model. Like, there's something about him that seems kind of silly. Naruto was illustrated and was designed to be kind of a silly kid. With Kai Leon, he looks kind of like a model. Aside from the kind of comedy panel you had where he tries to make the claw do something and it kind of fizzles, and he kind of has that chibi look and so forth. Like, I don't get at all if this guy is silly. I don't get that at all. Like, he doesn't look like a silly guy. He looks kind of like, again, even that image where you got him kind of standing on a rock like Fabio. Like, I don't get anything silly about that. So that's kind of the thing there, I think, is that I think there's a lot of stuff that you personally want to get out there because it matters to you. But like I've said before tonight, I don't see how it matters to me, and that's the problem. Like, it's like I'm not personally intrigued by what you presented, and that's the problem. Not talent-wise. I mean, there's some issues we have artistically, which I think will get fixed over time, because clearly you're talented. That's not even a question. Your talent level's there. But I think there's some other holes missing in terms of creating a compelling story that really grabs you. Mariel, any thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, I really love the character designs, especially Kai.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's great, the hair and everything. I've never seen a main character like that.
No, never.
And the pages are good. I think they're good. And the artwork for the cover is amazing. I wish I could do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the approach he took on the Naruto Korra pitch. I think he worked that really well.
So, okay, so then I agree. This is one of the stronger covers there. Stuff with the ankles and so forth with Kyle Leon, but the overall sense that you get of the beast and so forth in there, very strong. Very beautiful imagery as well. The backgrounds in that image in the cover, very strong. Okay, all right, and then the last one that we had is Jason Raphael. Mariel, would you like to start off on this one?
Sure. The title is Eternal Azure. I don't know how to pronounce that. Forgive me.
You did it right.
I did it right?
You did it right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Azure? Oh, yes. Okay, I love the cartoony style he has. I mean, it does look like anime and manga, but it looks like American cartoons too. It gives me a certain Gainax vibe too, like Gurren Lagann, and in the art style. I like the fact that it's a bit steampunk, fantasy, and I don't know, RPG designs. The pages, there's only one page, but I liked it. It's good. It's all grayscales. It's not completely black and white. It's only grays. And just like the cover, I would have loved to see some colors. But the character designs are really good. It is what it says it is. But I don't see it just has Monster Ranger on the plot, but the way I see it, I don't find the relation to it. And it's more like Indiana Jones meets steampunk, which is awesome. Definitely awesome.
Yeah. And
it has the weird science, lost civilizations. Everything is just so nice. It really draws my attention. It's about adventure, treasure hunting, and he frees an ancient evil, and now he's got to undo what he did, and then he finds this gang, I think, of other treasure hunters, and I think this is going to be this could be a very entertaining story to tell. I overall liked it.
Okay. I'll give my thoughts and then I'll turn it over to Wally to wrap it up, and then we'll go through the winners. So we debated this property a little bit when we took our break. You know, so there are a couple of things I did not like. I did not like the fact that Jason did not. I mean, there's a lot of stuff missing, as Mariel just alluded to. There's one page of activity, and there's a couple of things that are just not. They're just sketched images. I don't feel comfortable in rewarding a creator who doesn't follow through the rules exactly like that. There is no doubt, however, that Jason is talented. There's no doubt about that. Jason has some clearly real talent in terms of this. character designs, which the character designs come through clearly in the stuff that he submitted. The page of content that he has, the action sequence, looks good. There's no doubt about it. This is a very solid looking page. It looks professional. It's great. Again, a lot of backstory. Not a fan of the backstory. In fact, this reminds me a lot of Eli's stuff, where there is just a great deal of information that I've got to absorb first before I actually, get into the overall idea of what Jason wants to do with this work. I also must say too, one of the things as well I just talked about Prime Celesta. I'm not really sold on the names of all those works either. Again, it makes it feel far more personal than cool. And again, I'm interested in trying to have a property that people want to read, and a lot of that is the name. You can have a name that's hard to pronounce, like Naruto, but that's the name of the character. You get it. But some of the other names are just kind of out there. It's just kind of difficult for me to get along. Wanna Dead or Dead from Mariel, fantastic name. You get the idea when you see the manga. But Eternal Azure and Prime Celeste, like both of those, really rub me wrong in terms of the naming convention. It's just like they're just needlessly. It's like they're needlessly complicated, and they kind of have this sense that they actually are more profound than they really are. I mean, I don't want to be blunt when I say it, but I mean, I'm trying to be realistic with you guys. Like it does come across a bit pretentious. It's like, it's a comic book. It's not a novel. So I don't know. That kind of bummed me out a little bit. But there's no doubt that there's some real talent here. We have an ebook one called Well Read. Many of you may know we had a book called Skypunk that we published. You can still buy it, by the way. It's just 99 cents. And this reminds me a little bit of that. It kind of got that steampunk vibe. I didn't like the pitch here where Skies of Arcadia, video game meets Monster Ranch, another video game meets Skullgirls, another video game. It's like just stick to something and keep it kind of simple from that standpoint. So there's a lot of stuff I didn't like regarding the pitch, the presentation, so on and so forth. On the other hand, there's some real talent here. There's some interesting ideas here. Very much love the name of the characters. Suna, Shio, Jolene, Highwind, Vermilion Redgrave. Fucking awesome name, Vermilion Redgrave. That's great. So there's some stuff here I really enjoyed a great deal, and clearly Jason is talent. So like I said, we debated this a lot. There were things that I didn't like, tremendously did not like, but there are things I liked as well for Eternal Azure. And Eternal Azure, this is Trey Mack, who did the story for this, and then he got an artist, which is Jason Raphael. One of the challenges with this as well, I might add, is that, again, we didn't get all the content, so that's another piece of the puzzle here that kind of concerns me, is that we didn't get all the content here. There was, how much of that, this is a team that's doing this work, so I don't know who was responsible for that, but little stuff like that kind of does bother me about rewarding this property with anything significant. So let me turn it over to Wally, and then we will reveal some of the winners and so forth.
Okay. So this entry, I believe it's the final entry of our judging before we go to the finalists. But I have to say that I am very impressed with Jason. That's his name. With Jason's work, especially this action page. Like from this page, you can see a lot of things. You can see his ability to depict depth, which is something that an experienced illustrator would know what to do with. And you can clearly see that he is one who is more experienced with colors than tones, because this is how you do cell shading, not toning. He has a sense of spectacle, judging by the script that he sent, the pitch that he sent. Obviously, he's built this world, he's built the characters, and the character design.
Those are two different creators, by the way. Sorry, I don't know if you.
Okay.
There's a writer and an artist. Jason's the artist.
All right. Right. Okay. Yeah. And the character designs, like, it reminds me this one right here. The dragon or whatever in the background is similar to something that you'd see in Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, one of the cards, and that is saying something because you know those designs are very elaborate. And although this design itself is not refined, as with most of his other designs, you can clearly see the ability to make unique looking characters.
Mhm.
and as Mariel said earlier, I clearly see the Gainax influence in here,
Mhm.
and little bit of what is it? Cowboy Bebop. A little bit of Cowboy Bebop in there too.
Mhm.
I like it. I like it.
All right. So guys, we're going to take 2 minutes, just literally 2 minutes, and then we will come back and we will wrap this very long hangout regarding the live winner of our Saturday AM Pilot Manga Test Flight Contest. So please stay tuned. I'll have some more Toonami tunes playing in the background while we take just a slight 2-minute break just to firm up what we've got as our finalists, and then we will reveal them in give us about 2 minutes. Thanks, everybody. We'll be right back. Okay, everybody, we are now back. Once again, everybody, thank you so much for your patience. Thanks for staying tuned to the stuff that we're doing. We really appreciate you guys staying focused on the stuff that we've got that we're trying to present to everybody. Now, let us reveal the finalists. So, first of all, thanks to everybody for everybody for presenting your stuff. Really appreciated it. If you did not make the cut for this month, please do understand that we cannot wait to see your stuff next month, and we hope that you will participate in the contest next month. This was extremely difficult. What we've done is we've expanded our number of finalists. We still have a chief winner. And just to recap what that means, of course, is that the winner is someone that automatically will be featured within Saturday AM and gets all the kind of the stuff that we do with Saturday AM, like Felipe did. And the runner-up potentially will be in Saturday AM. It depends on where we think they fit best. And then the runners, the honorable mentions past the runner-up, those other finalists we then will have featured in a variety of places, whether it's WebX or Saturday Plus. We'll make that determination as we go on. So, coming in at our honorable mention, joint honorable mention, so the people that we thought were really strong in terms of what they did talent-wise, and we think there's certainly an opportunity to do something with them on a pilot basis, is Eli Camacho with his Prime Celesta. I think, we all felt that Eli's artwork was very strong. There's some real opportunities there for Eli to improve. We don't think it's ready yet, obviously, for Saturday AM, and so we're not sure exactly where it'll be, but we think there's some real opportunities there to work with him to develop a pilot manga for Prime Celesta. Title may change, concepts may change, but we think there's some interesting stuff there. Tied with him as well, we felt the same thing with Eternal Azure. We felt that Eternal Azure, again, it's a combination work, so the writer is Trey Mack, and the artist is Jason Raphael. On the basis of the art, Jason would have been in the top two, but we felt the artwork was not all there, and we felt that the story was a bit more convoluted than possible. Than we felt it could have been there. And same thing with Prime Celesta. So we felt both of them actually hit on similar themes in the sense that they are a bit more complex, and we're going to work with the creators if we can tone some of that down a bit to make an exciting pilot manga. But we felt that both of them did the right sort of things in terms of being able to say that they've got a fairly good opportunity to tell an interesting and original idea to the fans. And so we're really excited about talking with them and see if we can work on development of a pilot manga. In fourth place, we have, let's see here, in fourth we have Regina Okura. Regina is our fourth honorable mention. We thought that what Regina had with Neos was really one of the few original concepts. Again, there's some room there that we think for that property to grow. There's some things that we think we can work to massage a bit better. There's still some challenges artistically there, but in terms of story and concept, in terms of just presenting something that would be a great read on a regular basis, we thought that Neos was definitely one of the best ones, and we're really excited with what Regina put together for Neos. So that is our fourth place honorable mention. Our third place honorable mention goes to Chitulu Hernandez. Chitulu, essentially has a fantastic artistic style. In fact, it's really kind of an interesting deal because Chitulu and Regina kind of were equal sides of the same coin. They could actually be linked together in fourth or third position, just like Eli and Jason Raphael and Trey Mack, because their strengths were strengths and their weaknesses, and they were reversed for each other. So in Regina's case, we felt like the art is fun and whimsical, but it's not really detailed. It's not all 100% there. We want to work with her to see if we can develop that to turn it into a great pilot manga. Conversely, with Chitulu's story was not all the way there, and so some of that, I argue, could be the result of the language barrier. We went through this with Leonardo Massip, and I think having worked with Leonardo on Islanders, Leonardo has a really strong story, but again, it was not his force. It's not his strength of being able to tell that story the way that we needed it to, and that can be the case with Cthulhu as well. Cthulhu's artwork, though, is very strong. There's a lot of density in the work, stuff that needs to get fixed in terms of how you lay out a page, but no question that he actually is doing the things in terms of backgrounds and such that many of the other test flight members have not yet conquered. So congratulations to Getulio Hernandez for coming in third. So the runner-up who will be featured most certainly in Saturday Plus, but possibly in Saturday AM, that runner-up is Red Hammer, the manga Red Hammer. We thought that this was a property. We love the cover. We love the concept. We thought it was just a really strong piece overall. Again, room to grow and develop in terms of art, but we've seen this with some of the other creators that we've worked with since the September test flight, or August test flight. We've seen this development happen, so we know how this works, and we think that we expect to see some good things coming out of Red Hammer by the time it gets ready for its debut. That means our number one winner for the September test flight is the Fry Cook Samurai, and it won hands down. Really, there was no question about its place. Again, I think it could have been challenged a little bit by Jason Raphael's art if that had been more complete, the story had been a little tighter, but Fry Cook Samurai, just hands down, it's a winner across the board. Fantastic story, fantastic characters, excellent character design, fantastic sense of humor, originality across the board. It's excellent, and we think it's going to be a really fantastic pilot manga within Saturday AM. So we're really excited about that. And that's it. So a couple of notes that I'll make real quickly is that we will be doing the test flight, of course, this month. And I will tell you that this is going to be a very different set of rules for the next test flight. So if you presented something this month that didn't make it through to finalists and didn't make it through to the final area, I would say to you that if you continue to do the same idea, do know that this time you will be forced to do a different idea because we're going to do something entirely different. And I actually will tell you what that's going to be right now. So the test flight manga for the test flight rules for the month of October, and this is only partial rules, so we will reveal the full rules at a later date, but this is partial rules, is I suggest you get very familiar with the WebX titles, including the Before They Were Saturday titles. This includes, and this is specifically, I mean, Before They Were Saturday, but there may be some room there for some of the other WebX titles. But this includes specifically Better by Wally Nguyen, Dreamweaver by Andrea Voros, Ox King by Raymond Brown, and Candlejack by White Manga. Read those mangas now, because next month's test flight will be you doing a story featuring those characters. And that will be next month's test flight. You have a chance now to actually create a 2, 3, 4, 5-page story, short story, featuring characters that were already created, and we're going to look at everything from your ability to adapt an existing character to being able to tell a solid story from start to finish. We're going to be looking at a whole set of talents in this particular test flight. It's going to be totally different than the previous test flights. There will be some rules that you can't just wing it, so you'll have to know what those rules are, and we'll reveal those in the next couple of weeks. But for now, read up, start practicing your art of drawing those characters, because that will be next month's test flight. So everybody, again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Frederick Jones. I'm the publisher, founder of myfootprint.com, publisher of Saturday AM, Afternoon WebX, Well Read, and Saturday Plus, which is upcoming. I want to thank Wally Nguyen, who's one of the founding creators of Saturday AM with COMATOSE. Wally, any final words for everybody?
Congratulations to the winner. Congratulations to Fry Cook Samurai and Red Hammer for winning this month's test flight, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys.
Excellent. And Mariel, any comments from you? Mariel Villareal, the creator of Wanted Dead or Dead. Thank you for being a judge. Any last words from you?
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope to see more of your works and read my manga.
That was awesome. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mariel. And everybody, again, I know there's some creators who've entered a few times now. What I would say to you is that, please don't, you got to do what you think is right. Obviously, there's nothing in it in terms of us. So, don't take it on a personal level if you haven't made it past the finalist stage. We try to look at these things 100% authentically based on what we see and what we think works. And we're looking at this from everything from a combination of talent to a combination of like what could actually sell if it were inside of Saturday AM to a combination of what's original, what actually peculiars us as people, as fans of comic content. And so sometimes it's just the nature of the beast where just kind of, no matter what you do, it just doesn't seem to peculiar or work with us. If you feel that level there, I would say to you, A, you shouldn't feel that way, but if you do, at any time, of course, you can take your concept and put it on Ink Blazers to Passing and so forth. We certainly welcome that. We understand. And some of the titles that have been presented to us that we don't accept do have room to grow under those scenarios. But we do hope that you continue to try to get through the Saturday AM contest because we're a pilot manga contest because we're very excited about what you guys are doing. We think that you guys are creating some really unique ideas. And if anything, if you take away some of the criticism, it helps you create new stuff or better stuff. And that's everybody wins in that scenario. So just again, keep at it. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you guys next time. Remember, you can check out Saturday AM, and please do check out Saturday Wars, our Kickstarter. Some of the pilot manga creators will be in the Kickstarter if we can make it happen. Their characters will be in the book, so that can be you. So help us get to that level. Thanks again, everybody. Again, my name is Frederick Jones, and we're signing off.